The Darebin International Sports Centre, the Velodrome here in Northcote. Welcome to everybody. This is the Quest Ivanhoe 126th edition of the world-famous Austral Wheelrace. Started back in 1887. The first 22 editions were at the MCG before they went on to various tracks around Victoria. My name is Scott McGrory. For the start of the competition tonight, I'm going to be joined in commentary just for the first few minutes with my racing partner from Sydney 2000, Brett Aitken. Welcome to you, Brett. We do have a fantastic night of racing to come.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. It really is going to be a great night, finishing off and culminating with the two Madison titles.
Absolutely. So we do have a series of Kirins to get us underway. We see the under-19 women lined up for their Kirin final. We'll see the under-19 men after that before we get into the elite men and the elite women. Then we have the famous Austral Wheelrace final for both the men and the women. And as you just mentioned, Brett, the Madison races, the national championships for the Madison coming up tonight with some of our best riders, not just in Australia, but our best Australian riders are absolutely top of the world as well. So we'll just see the Kirin get underway for the under-19 women. We have Hayley Jack, Ella Liang, Natasha Sitsky, Hope Harnetti, and Hania Jackson, Riley Faulkner and Caitlin Kelly. And getting them underway is Natasha Sitsky in the light blue colours. They've had their qualifying rounds this afternoon. This is the final now, the under-19 women's Kirin final. Top 6 riders. Yesterday, there was a lot of individual sprints for all of the riders. Today, they get to do the Kirins, which both are fantastic events. You weren't too bad in the Kirin. As an endurance rider, Brett, you were pretty fast in these Kirin races, but they are different to what they used to be, the format of the Kirin these days.
Yeah, very different to what they used to be. I mean, the Kirins of the old days are almost like the end of a scratch race, so that's how I treated them. But certainly a two-up sprint was a different kettle of fish when you're up against the best in the world. So,
Riley Faulkner in second position, and they'll be coming around to get 3 laps to go, and the bike now comes off this time. It used to be 2.5 laps to go, the old format. If you're just tuning in for the first time, haven't seen track cycling for a while, we'll see the indicating of the motorcycle rider. 3 laps to go now. Bike's off the track, and they have been unleashed. Sitsky it is that leads down the back straight. This is the under-19 women's Kirin final. Faulkner from New Zealand in second position, constantly looking over the shoulder as she comes around to get 2 laps to go. Faulkner does not want to get swamped, but very close to being boxed in now, Faulkner. That's not a great position for her to be in. Still holding second position. She might be able to fight her way out as they go down the back straight. It's still Sitsky that leads the way. Caitlin Kelly on the outside, second position, out of the saddle now. 1 lap to go. First race of the program here tonight at the Quest Ivanhoe Austral Wheelrace and Australian Madison Championships. And Faulkner has faded back to third position, and it's Kelly that's going to come around to get the win here. Very strong win there from Caitlin Kelly, comfortably taking out the under-19 women's Kirin final. That was a strong performance to get things underway tonight, Brett.
Yeah, really good, hitting the front there and finishing it off well. They'd certainly ride much bigger gears than they used to, and once you hit the front, it's very hard for other riders to come around at the speeds they're going these days.
Now, coming up next is the under-19 men, and you take special interest in this because as the coach of the South Australian Sports Institute, you have a South Australian who is the under-19 world champion in Tate Ryan. Surely the favourite for this.
Yeah. Look, he was a world champion in the kilometre time trial this year. He was second in the world in the sprint championship. The Kirin, he bombed out a little bit. He wasn't as well. He didn't finish off as well there. So this is going to be a really good experience for him tonight, just to rehash on that a little bit and just tune his craft. It is important to understand he is a first year under 19 as well, so he's still got next year as well, which is quite rare, when you consider he's going to be going into the kilometre time trial at national titles with a world championship jersey as a junior world champion.
What was it, as they line up now, what was it you think that did let him down in the Kirin, knowing that he has an incredible outright speed? So was it simply just the lack of what we call craft?
Yeah, purely experience, I think. It's such a jostly race in terms of you've got a number of different riders. You're not just up against one other rider. You've got a number of riders you've got to compete against. always an opportunity to be boxed in and outfoxed by some that have maybe a little bit more experience over more years of racing. And really, that's all it is for Tate. You know, like he's a talent search rider. He's only been really racing for about two years now. So, you know, considering where he's at already is pretty incredible. Like he just missed out on the national record the other day, but he did get the all-comers record. So 10:03 was the time. Lee Hoffman has the all-time Australian record, but that was done overseas. So Tate actually holds the record for the best time ever done in Australia.
Wow, from an under-19. Well, that's him in the South Australian red colours, 3 from the top, the South Australian Sports Institute. Tate Ryan, certainly the favourite coming into this one. He also has Kai Arbery, Daniel Power, Bryce Nichols. Down the bottom is Teo Choi in the green colours, and Thomas McLean and Neil Van Niekerk. And that's Van Niekerk right at the very back in the yellow colours. So it's Choi that leads them down the back straight as they go on to the motorcycle. 6 laps of the track. The bike comes off after 3. Slowly picks up the speed. I think most people tuning in to the live stream here have a bit of an understanding. Typically, the hardcore fans that tune in for the live streaming of track cycling have seen a little bit before. So Tate Ryan, the favourite, 3rd from the back. Let's see if he can get those tactics sorted as they come around to get 4 laps to go. Still, Choi leads them through.
Yeah, these days they seem to stay in formation a lot more, and because of the rule changes that, you know, with the UCI, they don't tend to start to jostle until, you know, coming into 3 to go as they are now. So yeah, we'll see what pans out over these next couple of laps.
Well, Ryan comes up around the outside, making sure he gets himself into a good position. Arbery is the second of the 2 riders in the South Australian Sports Institute colours. He's on the inside. So Ryan putting himself in a good position. They come around to get 2 laps to go now. Still Choi in second position in the green colours. And the Brunswick rider is Daniel Power on the front. So he's put himself right at the front now. And a gap starting to open up. So this is going to be interesting.
It's been a really modest pace up until now. So coming into the bell lap.
Final lap, and it's Daniel Power doing everything he can for the Brunswick Cycling Club to put himself in the mix here. This is the under-19 Kirin final, and Choi powers past down the back straight. It's Ryan still in second position, trying to come up around the outside, but it does look like Choi, I should say, is going to hold on. That was a solid ride. We talked up Tate Ryan, but Teo Choi, that was a brilliant performance.
Yeah, very good. He rode a 10.3 in qualifying in the sprint the other day, and he did take a round off Tate. So no surprise there that he actually took it to Tate in the Kirin final, and no surprise that Tate was actually on his wheel waiting to try and pounce.
And it's good for Tate, knowing, because we'll always talk him up, right? And you as a coach as well, you're talking him up about how fast he is, how good he is. It's good to get beaten sometimes to really make sure he wakes up as well and fights harder.
Definitely, and you know, and he really is. He's such a nice kid. Like I'm not saying that just because I'm on air, but he is the nicest kid I've ever met. That's come through our Sassy program, you know, and he's really down to earth. And I don't think he'll take that in his stride. Like he'll obviously be disappointed, but at the same time, he's going to use it and he's going to learn from it.
Up next, it's the big men. So it's the 7th to 12th final now. The riders that didn't make it into the final. So for the elite men, racing for 7th position. And there is the winner of the under-19 men, Teo Choi. Great ride. Position number 1 behind the bike the whole time. Worked out really well for him that Kai Arbery did pop around the outside and just give him a little bit of a break into the wind for when the bike first came off. And
it was a really short sprint. They left it really to the last minute. So yeah, it was a great ride.
Now, I know you've got to get back down to the centre at some point. Hang around as long as you want. I'm happy to have you here for the whole night, Brad. It'd be great, especially for the Madisons later on tonight. But if you have to rush off, go for it. But for now, let's look at the race for 7th place. K.O. Lart, Max Liebknecht, Daniel Barber. He's been impressive over these last couple of days, Barber, really stepping up in the sprints. Liam Kavanagh, Ryan Elliott, and Maud Akmal Nazim Josina from Malaysia.
There's some really strong up-and-comers here. They're really starting to push the big boys at the top, the podium guys. Ryan Elliott is a really strong contender for this race. Has been really pushing to the next level.
Well, he is the rider that's in the Queensland colours coming up to the back of the motorcycle. And we just spoke about Ryan as we spoke about Tate Ryan previously in the under-19s. Now he's up into the elite category this year for the first year and was already performing well at the National Championship. So Ryan Elliott and Tate Ryan, two riders, one just out of under-19s, one still in the under-19s, but both Ryans very fast indeed.
Yeah, and we're already seeing the result of that, you know, in terms of stepping up to the big league, which is the open elite category. You know, how much more difficult it is, and we're talking about the 7th to 12th positions here, so it is a big step, and it takes a few years, and you know, you only have to look at the big guys to see, you know, how well built they are, you know, how that's developed over a number of years, and it takes a long time to get there.
And good to see these quick guys coming through, because we have a World Championship team sprint team from last year. They were second this year in the big boys, the elites. And they've got the young guys coming through to keep them honest and really push hard. So the bike has now come off, 2.5 laps to go as they go down the back straight. And Ryan Elliott from Queensland now gets drifted back to 4th position. 2 laps to go as they come through. And it's Liam Kavanagh that leads the way in the white colours. Lots of looking over the shoulder. And a big move coming from Ko Lart from New Zealand, I think it might be, is it? No, he's the one at the back. It's Daniel Barber. The big man, Daniel Barber, 1 lap to go, and he has really opened up a gap here. Everyone racing for 8th position, I think, as Barber comes into the final bend. He will be the 7th best rider here in the Keirin in Melbourne. So wins the race for 7th, and coming from behind as we expected, Ryan Elliott to be in the mix, but he'd be a little bit disappointed with that. Although I did start by saying Daniel Barber has been impressive in the sprints this week.
He is a very strong rider, and I think he still holds the record at an under-17 level. Around 10.8 it was. Yeah, he's, again, in a similar position where it's taken him some time to step up to this level, but they just get stronger and stronger as each year goes by, and it won't be long before they'll be competing for that 1 to 6.
Yeah, so a good ride there from Barber. Now, look, before you do have to take off, let's have a quick talk about the Madison to come in particular. We do have number 1 team for the men, Kel O'Brien racing this year with Blake Agnoletto. Now, Kel won it last year with Graham Frisley, but Frisley is now partnering with Liam Walsh. So the 2 winners from last year have been split up. What's that going to mean? Interesting
partnership with Frisley and Walsh, because they've always been big rivalries, but they are it is a friendly rivalry, and now they're finally teaming up together. I'm a really big fan of Graham Frisley. I think he's just, you know, such a consistent performer. He won the Omnium Championship yesterday. He beat Liam Walsh by 1 point, you know, to win the Omnium. They're teaming up tonight, and they'll really want a national title together in the Madison. And yeah, it's going to be hard to overcome Kel O'Brien and Blake Agnoletto, especially Kel's, you know, considering he's the reigning champion. But yeah, I think we'll see a really interesting matchup there.
For the women, Georgia Baker and Alex Manley, silver medal at the World Championships in the Madison. They are the standout team.
Yeah, this is a very top-heavy team here, but it is an Olympic year coming up, and it's really important to be able to, you know, race together consistently to try and get that, you know, get in tune with each other. So it's not surprising that they're together tonight.
On to the big final for the fast men. The men's Keirin, UCI points available here. Sam Gallagher, Azazul Arwang, the former Keirin world champion, Tom Cornish, Byron Davies, and we have Mohammed Maud and Mohammed Sharom. So 3 Malaysians. This will be very interesting. And a former world champion in Arwang, who wasn't sensational in the sprints the last couple of days, but you never put it past him. He's one of the craftiest riders you'll ever see in sprint racing, Arwang.
And being a world champion in this event. So, you know, it's, yeah, he's been a little bit off form this last few days, I think, but, you know, in comparison. But, you know, when it comes to this type of event, it's all down to racecraft, and he's got it in spades. So, you know, he could pull anything out here.
As we see Byron Davies from Queensland, the QAS jersey in behind the motorcycle. And Arwang, the one we're talking about, he's in third position, just with the red shoulders. And the first move, though, is coming from Sam Gallagher. He's a crafty rider as well. Hasn't won a world title like Arwang has, but Sam always puts himself in a good position. Bike has come off. 2.5 laps to go down the back straight. And it's Sam Gallagher with big Byron Davies in second position. And here comes Azazul Arwang. Cornish on his wheel in the Australian colours. So 2 laps to go. It's going to be a long sprint this time. Arwang fighting to get to the front. Cornish coming over the top of him as well. And Arwang has been swamped. Tom Cornish, he's fast over a long distance. He loves a Kieran and a kilometre time trial. Arwang fights for second position. He's got the wheel now. Can he come back over the top of Cornish as they come into the final bend? Tom Cornish in the Australian colours is looking good for the win here as Arwang tries to get to him. Doesn't have the legs though, and Tom Cornish with a really powerful ride there to come away with the men's Kieran victory ahead of the former world champion in Azazul Arwang.
Yeah, he's a strong rider, Tom. He rides third wheel in the team sprint for a reason. He's been kilo national champion. He was second at Commonwealth Games in the kilo. So, he is able to sprint long.
World champion last year in the team sprint and a silver medalist at the Super Worlds in Glasgow only a few months ago. So great form, riding well and proving it there in the Kieran. So great performances there. Tom Cornish, and I thought Arwang was just going to get faded, but he was able to fight back onto the wheel. Always a fighter, Azazul Arwang, in his retirement year. About to go into his retirement year. He will be retiring after Paris and has been living in Australia for over a decade with the Malaysian training program, track program. But in recent years had to move back to Malaysia. They built a velodrome there, so the Malaysian team had to go back over there to train there. But he has said that as soon as he's retired, he's on the plane coming back to Melbourne.
So it's a great privilege for the crowd here because it may be one of the last times we see him. And he spent so much time in Melbourne. John Beasley as his coach in Malaysia, and it's really great. He's given so much to the Australian public in terms of his the way he rides and the performances and just the style that he rides in. So it'd be sad to see him go.
See the bottom of the screen there, Cornish, Arwang and Sharon. Byron Davies, the big Queenslander, in 4th place. But UCI points up, so it's important racing for them. Now, onto the race for 7th in the women's Kieran final now. Kalinda Robinson, Lauren Perry. And then we have Nurul Azizan from Malaysia. Sophie de Vries from New Zealand. And interesting name, Christine Perkins. We'll mention her in a moment, but we have Anna Yong from Malaysia as well. So 2 Malaysians, New Zealander, 3 Australians, and Christine Perkins back on the bike after not a short hiatus, a very long hiatus. And of course, her brother was a 2-time Olympic gold medalist back in 2004, Ryan Bailey, and she's married. The Perkins surnames comes from Shane Perkins, former Kieran world champion.
Yeah, and she's actually going pretty well. She rode a 10.3 in the sprint the other day. So she's proving that she's still one of the top contenders here.
And that's her on the back of the motorcycle. Christine Perkins. Kieran Perkins is someone else. Pretty good swimmer back in his day.
And I did mean 11.3, not 10.3.
So Perkins it is. Both Shane and Christine, after Shane retired from racing, both of them got into some bodybuilding of sorts. They won a couple of competitions in that as well. So doing multitasking, running gyms, coaching people, racing as well. Shane Perkins will be riding the national championships early next year also.
And Shane's now one of the coaches for the sprint program at Wace over in the West.
Come around to get 3 laps to go. The bike will come off this time. Perkins it is. And Lauren Perry just giving a little bit of room there in 3rd position. Sophie de Vries from New Zealand in 2nd position. Good spot for now. Perry in 3rd. And de Vries was the first one to get out of the saddle. Perkins will be trying to get onto the back wheel there. That's good for her. Coming around to get 2 laps to go now. And it's the New Zealander, Sophie de Vries, that leads them through. Perkins in 2nd. First move's coming. And that's Anna Yong from Malaysia, up around the outside, the black colours. She goes on with it. She'll hear the bell first of all of these riders. Gets over the top of de Vries, and it's Yong that will go to the bell. 1 lap to go. Perkins still in 2nd position. So she's put herself in a really good spot here, Christine. big fight. Lauren Perry trying to come up around the outside, high on the track though. And a big move coming in right up around the outside from Azazam, but she's too far high in the red jersey. As they come down, Christine Perkins will get to the line first. So that's a sensational performance for Christine. Back on the boards after so many years doing other sports and other things. And she comes away with 7th place here by winning that Kieran.
Yeah, great ride. She positioned herself perfectly in there, and that experience is obviously still there, and she's able to pull off the win there.
Good stuff. Great to see. They're putting a lot of development into the young riders coming through. It's always great to have someone as experienced as Christine coming back as well.
Yeah, I think it's really good for the young riders to see, some of the riders of the past that do sort of get back on the bike and, to just put them a little bit on notice that, it's not necessarily just about pure power and strength and, speed. It's also about track craft.
The 126th Austral Wheelrace. That's coming up later tonight. The women will have their Austral final as well. Not quite as old as 126 years, but it's been around for a few years as well. And there's Shane Perkins on the left, actually. So Christine will be very happy with, should be very happy with his wife's performance out on the track. Didn't make the A final, which is coming onto the track at the moment, but still, after having not raced for so long, great to see Christine back and winning a race regardless. This is the final of the women's Kieran now. Alessia McCaig, Christina Clonan, Selena Ho, Molly McGill, Nural Maud from Malaysia, and also Anis Rosidi from Malaysia.
Yeah, Christina's probably the outright favourite here, but when you're the outright favourite, you got a sort of a number on your back that everyone's looking at, and it's up to the others to try and prove themselves and get over the top here.
The Australian colours at the top of the track. That is Christina Clonan, outright favourite here. And just in front of her is the next one in line within the Australian sprint program for the women, Alessia McCaig from Bendigo, Victoria. She's in the Victorian Institute of Sport colours of the dark blue. Third from the back, that is Rosidi from Malaysia. And it's Molly McGill in the Queensland colours. Selena Ho just in front of her. And Maud from Malaysia is the pocket rocket right behind the motorcycle. 4'9" tall. One of the shortest riders you'll see on the track at this level. Not a good rider to follow. There is not much of a draft coming off Nural Maud. Bike's off again, 3 laps to go. And Maud, look over the shoulder. Selena Ho in the New South Wales Institute of Sport colours in 2nd position. Then it's the QAS Queensland colours of Molly McGill. Rosidi in 4th position, and the pace has, I think, actually gone down from when they were delivered by the motorcycle. So very strategic this race. Christina Clonan still right at the very back. Alessia McCaig was the first to make the move. And there's some real argy-bargy there. Touch of shoulders. McCaig was the first to go, but Clonan's going to go right up around the outside as well. The bell will sound as they come around this time, and Christina Clonan, the favourite to take out this one, is right out in front. It's a race for second, a clash of shoulders as they've gone around the first bend, and Clonan riding away with this one. So you can put it in the books already. Christina Clonan will win the Kieran here tonight. And it's Maud for second, tight. I think it was Selena Ho that might have finished third. And very dangerous, very tight in that first bend, coming together. Love the argy-bargy of the Kieran.
Very close to a crash there, but they all held it up, quite skillful.
We love the argy-bargy. We don't like them coming off the bikes, though. So it's great they all stayed upright. And another good victory there from Christina Clonan, the Queenslander. Only member of the Australian team for the women's sprinters at the moment as well. Didn't have a team sprint at the World Championships here. It's all the funding has gone towards Christina to give her the best opportunity to try and get a medal at the Paris Olympic Games.
It's definitely been a difficult period over the last few years with the women's sprinters in the country, especially since Steph Morton retired recently just before the last Olympic Games, and obviously Anna Mears before that. We've certainly had some of the best in the world in women's sprint, but right now is definitely a developing stage of women's sprint, and we're starting to rebuild in that area, and we're starting to get a few back into the sport, which are starting to come through.
Absolutely, there's Christina. Commonwealth Games gold medalist in the 500-metre time trial as well. Put in a fantastic performance to beat the Olympic sprint champion, Kelsey Mitchell.
Attention all passengers. Order will be restored.
Snowpiercer. Stream all episodes now on SBS On Demand.
Så vad är tesan?
The Swedish sleuth returns to take on big tech in the hit corporate crime drama.
Stöter du på mig?
Kanske.
Blinded. Stream free on SBS On Demand.
Could you please tell us what happened to her? We really want to hear your side of the story.
A new case leads to darker secrets. Wisting. Stream free on SBS On Demand.
Making sure the bike is in the start blocks. A couple of world champions there with Shane Perkins as well. But Caitlin, who was a part of the Australian sprint program for the women, had a terrible crash for her in 2016, I think it was, and damaged some nerves in her right leg, which has made it really difficult to keep her right foot stable, and spent so much time to try and get that back to normal, and wasn't able to. So she still has this issue with her right leg, and it's bad enough for her, the injury, that she's now been classified as a para-athlete herself. So she's now a C5, which is right. Yeah, and the UCI were trying to work this out because they've never had a para-athlete piloting a para-athlete before in this discipline. So
someone asked me that question the other day, and I'm actually unsure of the answer, whether that's possible.
It's definitely possible. They've made it okay, but it also means that Caitlin will get to ride as an individual at the Paralympic Games next year. So she has a real chance to race for herself in Paris, in the Paras, as well as with Jess Gallagher in the tandem. So great opportunity for Caitlin. Very
interesting. I think she's just gone through the first stage, which is the Australian categorisation or classification, and she still needs to get it from the UCI.
I've jumped the gun, have I?
Maybe.
I'm wishful thinking. I hope she does. She'll be great. She'll be a real chance of medals if she can race as an individual, that's for sure. As long as she's healthy, that's the main thing. Back out there racing bikes, which is great. We could have seen her just walk away from the sport, but she persevered for such a long time to try and get back to the very best. And the nerve damage was so great that she wasn't able to achieve her previous very best, but now she's doing an amazing job piloting Jess Gallagher. So much to be said about Jess as well. Multiple para sports, not just cycling, throw in swimming and skiing as well. Everything, has a go at it all. So Gallagher and Ward, and on the outside, pilot is Luke Zachariah and Kane Paris at the back. So
this is a strong team. They rode a kilometre in under 101 the other day, so very, very strong team.
Well, we're sitting up in the stands. We just see Luke Plapp just walking past us. Say good day to him as he comes through. So great to see Luke back out here at the velodrome as he is really now starting to focus on a road professional career. Great to see him back in the Australian registered Jayco Alula team from next year, having transferred from Ineos. Para tandem team sprints. And we are underway. First two laps for the ladies, Gallagher and Ward, and then Paris and Zachariah to do the third and final lap. And you'll see the gap now just opening up. So Luke Zachariah just trying to manage the gap enough and then get a run at the ladies for the final lap. Timing, very, very important. Maximum effort now it is from Gallagher and Ward as they go into their second and final lap for them. They'll swing up the track as they come around to the start-finish line this time. And the West Australian boys will be lining them up now, and here they come, trying to get to the back wheel just at the right time. Good changeover by them as well. This will be interesting to see what sort of time they can produce. There's a real focus on the Paralympic Games in Paris next year. Training has well and truly been underway for these riders as they come to complete the distance. 49.483. So good changeover, nice transition.
Yeah, very good. You could really see the difference in the gears there as well, with the girls on a much smaller gear and the guys on a much bigger gear, and they left quite a large gap to get that gear going and then hit the transition or the changeover almost exactly at the point they needed to.
Now, with that one completed, one more thing. Do you have to go, or are you going to hang around?
Yeah, I can hang around for a little bit.
Well, you're listening to, Scott McGrory is my name, and Brett Aiken sitting beside me. We have the Austral Wheelraces coming up next. So the women's final, we do have two scratch riders in Georgia Baker and Alex Manley. Manley won it last year off 15 metres. She's been brought back to scratch. These two riders were second at the World Championships this year in the Madison. And they're a very, very strong combination. Sophie Ma off 20 metres just in front of them. Isla Carr off 40. Three riders off 40, in fact. Sally Carter and Sophie Edwards. Edwards, South Australian, former Omnium national champion. And Georgia Baker taking that title off her yesterday, in fact. So Baker now the new Omnium national champion. Sophie Edwards could be a danger. Off 40 metres, she's fast. She's
going really strong at the moment. She held off Georgia in a scratch race in the scratch race in the Omnium yesterday. So proves that she's actually got the speed to match it with these girls.
The last couple of laps on the front as well.
Yeah,
I think.
So
2 laps on the front and held Georgia
from a long way. So wouldn't surprise me if she tried to tack on the back of these girls and ride for herself. Yeah.
Next on the start list, riding off 50 metres, is Belinda Bailey from Bendigo. And then three riders off 60 metres. Keely Bennett, so good to see Keely back on the track. She rides for the Team Bridge Lane squad on the road. Hayley Fuller, who's also in that Bridge Lane team as well, from Dubbo Cycling Club. Kira Will, so there's three riders off 60, then four riders off 80 metres. So Anna Dubier, Nicole Duncan, world champion in the under-19s in the scratch race this year. Mirella Willis-Hell, and also Caitlin Kelly. And we saw her in the Kieran, actually. So she won the Kieran earlier on. Seventh place in the Kieran. So she won the race for 7th. So she's got some speed. If she can save some energy, she'll be hard to beat in the end. And then two riders off 100 metres. Lilith Jones from Bendigo and Amelia Mulhern from the Brunswick Cycling Club.
It's actually a really strong group, that 80-metre mark. With I've been very impressed by this Anna Dubier. And of course, Nicole Duncan, who is on the same mark as her, won the scratch race world championship last year. This year.
Yeah, that's 80 metres. That's going to be a difficult one. So Georgia Baker and Alex Manley will be putting in a big effort to try and bring back these riders with 80 metres advantage. Nicole Duncan, if she can sit on the wheels comfortably, she might have enough speed to get the win. So that'll be fascinating. The men's Austral final is coming up after that. Three riders off scratch. Last year's winner, Kell O'Brien, with Graham Frisley and Connor Lay. So the big, powerful Western Australian individual pursuit champion of Australia the last couple of years, actually, Connor Lay. So he'll be a very worthy guy to be out there at the back with Kell O'Brien and Graham Frisley.
We've got Liam Walsh off 50 metres as well, which is he's in fine form. Only missed out on winning the Omnium national title yesterday by 1 point. He's riding with Graham Frisley tonight in the Madison. So 50 metres is a pretty good mark for that calibre of a rider. Yep.
These are the riders that are about to come onto the track now. We've already just gone through them. We'll have another run through as they come out onto their marks as they're presenting onto the track. The first rider that is coming out that will go around to the 100-metre mark is Amelia Mulhern. So Amelia in the black colours, number 132. She'll be riding off 100 metres. Just behind her is the tallest rider in the field, Lilith Jones from Bendigo in the Victorian Institute of Sport colours. She'll be out there on 100 metres as well. So Mulhern and Jones. Then it's this interesting group of four riders. Caitlin Kelly, Mirella Willis-Hell, Nicole Duncan and Anna Dubier off 80 metres as they come around. And that was Morella Willis-Hell then. This is Nicole Duncan. Rides for the Central Coast Cycling Club and the Junior World Champion in the scratch race. So Anna Dubier has just come past the start line, going around to her position of 80 metres. Kira Will, the next one that comes through, she's going out to 60. So 3 riders off 60. This one here, though, that's Hayley Fuller. So Kira Will, Hayley Fuller, and here's Keely Bennett in the Bridge Lane colours. So those 3 riders off 60 metres. Actually, only 2 riders in the field that are on marks on their own. Everyone else is clustered up. This is Belinda Bailey. She's one of them. She's off 50 metres from the Bendigo Club in the Victorian Institute of Sport colours. So Belinda Bailey off 50. Then it's Sophie Edwards. She's one of the favourites for this one, Sophie Edwards. She's on 40 metres. 3 riders off 40. Sally Carter is the next one.
She's a very exciting rider, Sally Carter, as well. She's been consistently strong and is a very fast and crafty rider.
And joining her, also in the West Australian colours, Isla Carr. So 2 Western Australians off the 40-metre mark. Next there is Sophie Ma, another exciting rider as well. Very aggressive in the bunch races, Sophie Ma.
Blackburn. Be a local favourite as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Blackburn Cycling Club in the VIS colours, and she's on 20 metres. And here's Alex Manley. So last year's winner, she was off 15 metres last year, and now dragged back to scratch, and World Championship silver medalist in the Madison, along with this rider here, Georgia Baker, Northern Districts Cycling Club, and Georgia Baker, big star, 3 times a gold medalist at the last Commonwealth Games, and has developed into being just such an incredible professional cyclist on road and track, Georgia Baker, as has Alex Manley. But Georgia has really had a purple patch in the last couple of years.
Yeah, Georgia was so strong at the Commonwealth Games last year. It's great to see that they've put Alex back to scratch as well. It's big recognition, to be a scratch rider, and she is very deserving of it, especially after winning last year.
How did you go in the Australs back in the day, Brett?
It was the one. I couldn't win. Had a lot of success in the Tasmanian carnivals. Won all the carnivals down there, but this was the big one. I could never win. So yeah, it is one of the historically the biggest and longest reigning handicap race in Australia as well.
The 126th edition for the men. Not quite that long a history for the women. But we see the 2 scratch riders lining up just right in front of our commentary position here. Great to see them both riding for the Jayco Alula cycling team as well. The field almost all in place, and we are just about to get underway. The Quest Ivanhoe Austral Wheelrace for the women. 2 riders off scratch. Final checks, making sure the riders are all on their marks. And we are underway, the women's Austral final. 2 scratch riders with a lot of work to do, but there are short gaps all the way out to the limit markers. Lilith Jones and Amelia Mulhern off 100 metres. So Baker it is that leads down the back straight. She swings up and allows Alex Manley to come through. What's happening out in front? Mulhern is on her own. So Lilith Jones, the tall rider in second position there, has swung up and gone back into the group, and that has left Mulhern out in front on her own with 4 laps to go. That's a long way to the finish as they're really rushing at them now. And we can see right at the very back, the scratch riders have joined the back of the group. So almost all together except for that one rider, Amelia Mulhern, that is out in front as she comes around to get 3 laps to go. Where are the two scratch riders? Have they got themselves caught? Are they getting themselves out of the way? You can see Georgia Baker there, the two riders from Jaco Alula. Alex Manley has lost contact though with Baker. Baker has gone right up around the outside. Mulhern still leads the way. 2 laps to go. Can she do it? The gap is not that big. Surely the peloton is going to start coming at her. Duncan comes through. Baker is right up there. And Sophie Edwards is in a good position as well. 3rd position in the peloton. Mulhern now finally has been reeled in as they're coming around to 1 lap to go. Georgia Baker has had to go very early. There's been a crash as they come into the last lap. Riders have gone down, but we still see Georgia Baker out in front. Sophie Edwards in 2nd position, trying to come up around the outside. It's a drag race into this final bend. All the riders are clear of the track as they come into the finish here. And Georgia Baker, what a performance. Solid ride from a scratch rider from the back mark, right through the field, and gets the win. Well, we have 3 riders that are down here in front of us. Hopefully they are all okay. Wishing them the very best. We'll keep you updated on their condition. But Georgia Baker, what a ride. From scratch, put herself in the good position around the outside, and a solid win with Sophie Edwards not able to get over the top.
Yeah, really strong ride there by Georgia. You know, the scratch riders got up fairly early, and she just propped on the wheel, and then sort of hit it down the back straight with 1.5 to go. I thought Sophie might have had a little bit to run at there, but she looked like she had on quite a big gear, and she just struggled on the hip. Yeah. It looks like we have Sally Carter as one of the race athletes that's down here, so she's supposed to be riding the Madison later on.
Yeah, with that in mind, Australian Madison Championships for both the men and women still to come on the program, so hopefully everyone is going to be okay, but Sally is still just laying flat. 2 riders have got up. You hear the applause in the background. That is for one of the riders that has just got herself up and moving. That was Nicole Duncan. Oh, Caitlin Kelly, I should say. Caitlin Kelly that is just walking off the track there. And still Sally, she's moving. She's certainly conscious, so that's okay, but just making sure. And a bit of smiles going on there as well. So having a bit of a joke with the medical staff there, Sally, which is a good sign. And just off camera now, we can see she has actually stood up. So another round of applause for all 3 riders now that have been able to get up and walk away from that accident. Tough as nails. Very strong riders. And pouncing away from the crash as she goes back to her position. Sophie Edwards just checking to make sure that she's okay.
I think they were just giving her the full check over there to make sure that she was all okay, had no concussion.
Just asking all the different questions, making sure there's no concussion. Yes, who's the Premier of Queensland? I don't know. Well, the men's Austral final not too far away now. They are the riders there, just going around. And so many of them still with the Madison race to come. It's a big program, isn't it? The Omnium that we had yesterday, so most of these, if not all of these endurance riders in the Madison raced the Omnium, except for Kel. Kel O'Brien actually didn't ride the Omnium, did he?
No, he didn't.
No, so freshest legs for one of the big favourites.
Nor Blake.
Blake Agnoletto. Okay, there you go. So the favourite team for the men's Madison Australian Championship did not tire their legs out in the Omnium Championship yesterday. That could be a big factor as we get into the men's race. That's the last race on the program. Women's Madison will be before that. And next coming up is the men's Austral Wheelrace. Thanks very much to Quest Ivanhoe for once again being involved, sponsoring the event. Now you said to me, Brett Aiken, that you'd come up for a couple of minutes, help me out at the very start. We thought we'd have a little bit more of a gap in the racing program at the very start. So I thought, oh, come on, Brett, let's come up and have a bit of a chat. We don't get to chat that often, old Madison partners that we are. And you've been almost in for the whole program. It's been great.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go shortly.
I think you've got some coaching to do.
There's a couple of Madisons coming up.
Yeah.
But no, it's been they've been very long days. It's so great to see so many riders, racing, especially the juniors. Yesterday was like a 15-hour day for my bosses back home, just to remind them that I do the occasional work every now and then. But no, it has been a really good 4 days of racing. This is the 4th day we've had in a row, and And yeah, finishing off with the Madison tonight's actually going to be really exciting, but also rewarding for the coaches that have been here going all day, every day for the last 4 days. And the mechanics, I should say. And mechanics work as hard as anyone I know in this sport.
Yep. Unsung heroes. Normally the first up, last to go to bed every day.
They sure are.
So the men's Austral Wheelrace, the Quest Ivanhoe 126th edition. 22 times, I think it was 22 of the first 24 or 25 editions of the Austral Wheelrace were held at the MCG. Various venues, including the old Olympic Park track in Melbourne. And just the final repairs, Neil Hamey, who's our timing expert, is also our track repair expert. There's nothing a bit of duct tape cannot fix. First rider coming out. So position 180 metres for our limit marker. Jamison Key of Norwood. Daniel Bucknell from the University of Queensland Club is coming through. He's off 135, so a big gap from Jamison Key off 180 back to Bucknell on 135. Then a cluster of 3 riders off 120 metres, including this one, Neil Van Niekerk. Next one coming up, Kai Galtman from the Lidcombe Auburn Cycling Club. And then in the New South Wales Institute of Sport blue colours. And just behind him is Ned Pollard. So you saw him in the black colours, Ned Pollard. Those 3 riders off 120. And Pollard, very fast. So he'll be interesting. If he's got some legs at the end, he'll be a hard one to beat.
It's important to have riders around you in these handicaps, you know, to work with and try and get to the finish. You know, share the workload all the way.
Yep. Well, we had Andre Dubier come through. He's off 100 metres. Now it's Sam McKee off 95, and Kane Foster is the next one. Here's Kane Foster from New Zealand, and he's off 90. So there's a real cluster here. 100, 95, 90, 80, 70, very evenly spaced. As we see Leo Zimmerman in the SASI, South Australian Sports Institute colours. He's off 80 metres. Sam Washington is off 70 in the West Australian Institute of Sport colours.
Sam's a very exciting rider coming through. First year junior, 19. Has already owns the individual pursuit record as an under 17.
Impressive. Well, he's joined off 70 metres with Jack Dola. Here's Oscar Gallagher off 60 metres.
Oscar won the Omnium Junior National title last night.
Handy rider in the bunch races. Let's see how he can go in the Austral final. He has Kai Bonza, I should say. Kai Bonza off 60 metres with him in the yellow colours.
Started off in sprint and moved to endurance.
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll see how he goes here tonight. Liam Walsh from the Balmoral Cycling Club rides for Team Bridge Lane in the National Road Series. He's off 50 metres, and Dylan Ether is with him as well. So that's him in the green colours. Keish Parkoop, National Road Series team.
So they'll be relying on trying to catch the guys 10 metres in front early in this race to stay ahead of the rest of the pack.
And also in the green colours here, same team as Dylan, but perhaps not racing together here in the Austral final. James Moriarty rides for the Balmoral Cycling Club. Keish Parkoop in the National Road Series, and second in the individual pursuit at the National Championships this year. Kurt Ether, so the 2 Ether brothers, he's on the same mark of 20 metres with James Moriarty. There's Connor Lay, the first of our 3 scratch riders. Graham Frisley, Keish Parkoop, again very well represented here in the Austral Wheelrace. And the last rider to come onto the track, the defending champion, the winner of the 125th Austral Wheelrace presented by Quest Ivanhoe. Can he go back to back? He has already won it twice now. This will be his third. Kellen O'Brien. 3 riders off scratch. O'Brien, Frisley, Lay. 20 metre gap to Kurt Ether and James Moriarty. 10 metres to Kurt's brother Dylan. And he's there with Liam Walsh. Those 2 riders off 50 metres. And then Kai Bosner and Oscar Gallagher off 60. Man out in front, Jamison Key from Norwood, South Australia. He's off 180 metres. He is going to be on his own for quite some time because it's a big gap to the next rider behind him.
It's a huge gap. He is a very fast rider, but being out there alone is going to expose him, and I would not be surprised if he takes a lone ride for quite a number of laps and then gets swallowed up.
There's our scratchman. 8 laps of the track. Final checks, make sure everybody is in position. And the Quest Ivanhoe Austral Wheelrace, the 126th edition, is underway with our 3 scratch riders, O'Brien, Frisley and Connor Lay. It's Lay that gets them underway. This is the group out in, it's perhaps the first of the real potential riders from the limit marks. One rider way out in front, and look at this cluster of green, the Case Park Hoop riders. 5 riders together now, very quick with the 3 scratch riders to get to those guys just in front of them, and that is a very strong back group, still with a huge gap to close with 6 laps to go. Moriarty it is that really drives them through, and they are absolutely powering in the back mark. Kel O'Brien sitting pretty right at the very back of that group. Out in front, they're working well together. So we have 3 groups on the track. The limit marker has been reeled in very quickly indeed. And the scratch riders still trying to get up to that middle group. 3 groups on the track, 4 laps to go. And Nykirk it is that leads the way, and the scratch riders down to 3 now. So the 3 scratchmen, they caught the riders just in front of them. Now they've let them go. They'll come around to get 3 laps to go. Van Nykirk leads them through. And the 3 riders at the back have just got themselves onto the peloton. Connor Lay swings up and out of the way. Graham Frisley and Kel O'Brien, you can see them there, the green colours and the national team colours. Just trying to fight around the outside with 2 laps to go. Frisley really getting the job done. They'll come around to get the bell this time. Oscar Gallagher, the under-19 Omnium champion, now goes to the front. So a gold medal already this week. Oscar Gallagher leads through. Frisley trying to come up around the outside. So from the scratch mark, Graham Frisley's coming. Kel O'Brien trying to get up there as well. Liam Walsh, 3 wide round the outside. Gallagher gets rolled as Frisley comes down to the line, and Grizzly Frisley wins the 126th Austral Wheelrace with Kel O'Brien, the defending champion, in 2nd place. 1st and 2nd for the 2 riders off scratch. Liam Walsh may have come over the top to finish 3rd. Sensational riding from the 2 riders off the scratch mark.
Yeah, I think that just shows how good Graham Frisley is right now. He's in great form, and Liam Walsh really pushing right to the end as well.
Gallagher did everything right there, and you can see Kel O'Brien, just as they went down the back straight, just started to lose the wheel a little bit of Frisley, just again indicating how powerful Graham Frisley is at the moment. He's maturing so well.
Sure is. He fought right to the end there, and it looked like Kel was lining Graham up, but when he tried to come and he just got caught on the hip, he just couldn't get past.
Wow, fantastic addition. The 126th Austral Wheelrace, it first started in 1887 and here in 2023 at the Darebin International Sports Centre. Graham Frisley is our most recent winner. What a performance it was from the scratch mark. Also a good ride from Liam Walsh. Those 2 will be combining in the Australian Madison Championship later tonight. And Kel O'Brien now gets a real taste of just how powerful those legs of Frisley are. He's partner from last year in the Madison, where they came away with the gold medal. They're racing against each other tonight. And I think Kel O'Brien may be a little bit worried if he has to sprint head-to-head against Graham in the Madison.
Certainly be a little bit of fear in there in terms of what they're capable of. So, it's going to be great to see.
And we can see as they come down the finishing straight, Frisley, O'Brien and Walsh. 1, 2, 3 with Gallagher holding on for 4th. Brave ride from the youngster from the Victorian Institute of Sport. So he's another up-and-coming bunch race rider that we desperately do need in our national program. Brett, you've got some coaching to do. The Madison racing is coming up. You know a little bit about that. So thanks so much, mate, for joining me in commentary. So that's Brett Aitken, ladies and gentlemen. He has a little bit of work to do with getting his South Australian riders all sorted and ready to go.
Carla, ¿qué pasa?
Vienen a por nosotros, con nombre y apellido.
The international action thriller. La Unidad, stream free on SBS On Demand.
And you are?
I'm Alex. She's his boyfriend.
What are you doing with Shiv?
The comedy series that critics are calling the Irish Fleabag.
Very nice.
The Dry, stream free on SBS On Demand.
These are my guys.
I want to hire you.
The police call us career criminals. Come on. Look, at the end of the day, it's about having a laugh.
Brassic, stream free on SBS On Demand.
Bless me, Father, for I've sinned. I fear I have forsaken God. I was robbed of 15 years of my life. And now I want revenge. I intend on finding out why. And when I do, I'm going to punish those people responsible.
The Count of Monte Cristo, stream free on SBS On Demand.
That was put on the program to give the riders an opportunity to pick up some UCI points that are needed for riders like Kell O'Brien to make sure that he qualifies with enough points to go to the Nations Cups and therefore the World Championships and Olympic Games. They're very strategic from AusCycling to make sure they put that Madison race on this morning. Factor that in, 120 lap Madison at 9 a.m. All the racing they've had this afternoon, the Austral heats, the Austral final, and then the Madison still to come for both the men and the women. It's a big program, indeed. Kira Will from Lidcombe Auburn Cycling Club taking out the third place in the women's Austral wheel race. Great ride for Kira. Sophie Edwards, former Omnium national champion, second place for her. Hard on the wheel of Georgia Baker, but Georgia just had so much power on that final lap. Georgia Baker races for the Jaco Alula professional team on the road. 3 gold medals at the Commonwealth Games last year, and now the women's Austral wheel race. Tasmania, South Australia and New South Wales. Nice good spread of the states on the women's podium. And unfortunately, I don't think you'll be able to pick up the audio off the venue PA as Ian Maher does the interview now with Georgia Baker. And as excited as she is for winning the race, I'm sure she's has some urgency to get herself ready for the Madison still to come. Racing again with Alex Manley, silver medalist in the World Madison Championships in Glasgow this year. A really strong performance. I was there commentating for the UCI, and they really did put it to the British team. They were very, very strong and came on a lot more than actually I was expecting them to in the last 20 to 40 laps. So they really did finish off well and aggressively at the World Championships, showing that they had good legs. So that's fantastic. Darren Casey in the green shirt there with the black cap. My ex-brother-in-law doing some social media for AusCycling Victoria. And some more interviews being conducted on the infield by Ian Maher as the men just getting themselves ready for the presentation of the men's Austral. Good crowd in tonight. The ticket sales for the seated area here in the home straight sold out. There was only the general admission tickets that were still available. Good, nice little public bar set up in the inside of the venue here as well. Matthew Gilmore just over the back there, walking past. Former Madison and points race champion of his time. Silver medalist at the Olympic Games in the Madison. Silver medalist at the World Championships in the points race as well. Coaching the Tasmanian team and the Tasmanian Institute of Sport. It's a perfect night here in Melbourne, inside the velodrome. Everyone in shorts and t-shirts, but it's not too hot. Typically the riders don't mind having it fairly hot and sticky inside, but it's not too bad at all, not that uncomfortable. Nice and fast conditions. quite pleasant. ...120 laps will be the length of the Women's Madison coming up. Georgia Baker and Alex Manley as the favourite team, but that also will mean they're heavily marked and will be expected to do all of the chasing of any of the teams that are willing to go on the attack. So it could be an opportunity for one of the teams that are a little bit further down in the rankings to maybe steal a few laps and get themselves right up there in the points. Men's race, Kel O'Brien and Blake Agnoletto, as we mentioned, but Graham Frisley and Walsh will be an interesting combination. Then John Carter, who really did come to form at the National Championships in the points race earlier this year. He's riding with Kurt Ether. Then you have James Moriarty and Tyler Tompkinson, the two Queenslanders. They ride for the Balmoral Cycling Club. Good, strong combination as well. Tompkinson coming up from the under-19s into the elite category now, and Moriarty has been really coming on in the last couple of seasons. He's the silver medalist in the individual pursuit at the Nationals this year. There's Graham Frisley, the Austral winner, and one of the big favourites, of course, in the Madison National Championship still to come. He is the defending champion, but not riding this year with Kel O'Brien, who he won the race last time. So that'll be a great bragging rights between Kel and Graham to see who gets the win this time. It might not be either of them. Could be Connor Lay riding with Will Holmes. That'll be team number 6. Leo Zimmerman and Angus Miller, an all South Australian affair as well. That'll be team number 8. There's Connor Lay just on the right-hand side. Skin suit unzipped. He's dominated the individual pursuit at the National Championships the last couple of seasons, although he was second fastest in qualifying this year to James Moriarty. So James just putting a little bit of a scare on Connor before they went into the final, where Connor really did ride away with it, winning by several seconds. I must again thank Brett Aiken for coming up, my old Madison partner from the Sydney Olympics, to join me for the first part of the broadcast here tonight. And Liam Walsh, this is the presentation now for the 126th edition of the Austral Wheelrace, thanks to Quest Ivanhoe. Liam Walsh from the Bridge Lane team in 3rd place, Kel O'Brien from Jaco Alula in 2nd, and getting the win in the lovely green colours of Cage Park Goop, Graham Frisley. Graham was born in Montana in the United States, which gave him the nickname Grizzly Frisley. And then last year, if anyone can remember, he was sporting a very full beard as well, which certainly did add to that nickname of Grizzly Frisley. Clean shaven this time around though, ready to race again, and an Austral victory in the pocket. Cage Park Hoop well represented in the Austral final. And the organisation, just as we have a look back on, just making sure they are just stretching this out a little bit, just to give the riders that little bit of extra rest that they do need. You see Gallagher in 2nd position here, perfectly primed to go as here we see down the back straight, and Frisley in the green colours of Cage Park Hoop, just starting to close them in. Coming to the bell, 1 lap to go, and it was Gallagher in the perfect position. Frisley really had to fight hard to get up around the outside, all the way down the back straight, too wide around the final bend. Gallagher gets absorbed, Frisley over the top, drags O'Brien with him, and then Walsh in 3rd. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, Frisley, O'Brien and Walsh. Fantastic race. That's Ian Marr, just down the bottom on the microphone, doing the venue commentary. Done so much commentary over the years, Anne. Lady in the middle in the black pants, that's Louise Jones. former champion cyclist on the road and on the track, actually, from Wales, now living in Brisbane. She is the race director here for the event, the Austral Wheelrace and the Australian Madison Championships. This is the women's Keirin final. You can see Christina Clonan, the pre-race favourite, in the Australian colours in 6th position. And slow pace once the bike did come off. 2 laps to go, and it was Alessia McKay that was the first to move. And she did drag Christina up around the outside. But as soon as Alessia started to balk a little bit, she was, I think, happy to sit in 2nd or 3rd position. And Clonan didn't want to waste the opportunity with momentum to go over the top. And then it was a real fight. You can see the middle, the touch of shoulders as McKay got squeezed between the 2 riders from Malaysia. And unfortunately for her, that took all the momentum out of her run. And Clonan was untouchable in the women's Keirin final. Kip Kaufman in the shorts and the Australian AusCycling black shirt in the middle there. I've got to have a shout out to Kip. He's the general manager of sport for AusCycling, amongst, I think, a million other things. Does an incredible amount of work for AusCycling. There he is. Darren Casey on the left, and Kip Kaufman sharing a bit of a light-hearted moment. Riders in the background just getting themselves ready. Blake Agnoletto, one of them. He'll be coming out with Kell O'Brien as perhaps the outright favourites. Both riders not, as Brett Aiken said, didn't race the Omnium yesterday. So they'll have slightly fresher legs than some of the others in the Madison. First we have the women's Madison though. Final preparations underway. And we can look back at the women's Austral final now. Georgia Baker really early hitting the front. And there's that crash as they come to 1 lap to go. 3 riders coming down, and so good that all 3 of them were able to fairly quickly get themselves back up and going again. But Georgia Baker just way too strong, coming away with the win. Sophie Maher and Kira Will, team number 3. There you go, in the Victorian Institute of Sport colours. Sophie Maher on the left. Kira Will on the right. So now we can see the riders getting themselves up onto the track. So Sophie Maher and Kira Will, our first team to come out onto the track, presented to the crowd here. Very enthusiastic crowd getting ready for the Australian Women's Madison Championships. Team 4, Emily Sanders and Liani Vanderberg. Team number 4 coming out. Team number 7, Ella Sibley and Belinda Bailey. So Belinda Bailey on the light blue bike and Ella Sibley on the red Cervelo. South Australia and Victorian combination, those 2 riders. Team number 6, Anna Dubier and Nicole Duncan. So we've already mentioned Nicole Duncan, under 19 scratch race world champion this year. And Amelia Mulhern with Alana Hribar. This is team number 11. Sophie Edwards and Sally Carter. Now, Sally was one of those 3 riders that crashed in the women's Austral final. You can see the evidence of that on her right elbow. So good that she's able to get herself back onto the bike for this Madison Championship. Team number 9 here is Keely Bennett and Hayley Fuller, both riding for Bridge Lane National Road Series team. The yellow and black of Western Australia, Isla Carr and Claudia Marks. Claudia Marks with the red number 5, black number 5 is Isla Carr. And then the outright favourites, the silver medalists from the World Championships in Glasgow this year, Georgia Baker on the white bike, and on the black bike is Alex Manley, both in the Jayco Alula colours, looking splendid and ready to go, both with tired legs from that Austral final, but they are such strong riders, I don't see it affecting them that much. All eyes in this race will be looking at Baker and Manley. Can that create an opportunity for one of the other teams? 120 laps, sprint every 10 laps for points, 5, 3, 2 and 1 for the first 4 teams across the line, and double points of 10, 6, 4 and 2 on the final sprint. If you take a lap on the field, 20 points is added to your tally. And at the end, the team with the most number of points comes away with the win. The old rules were that if you took a lap on the field, you were 1 lap ahead and therefore leading the race. More than one team take a lap on the field, it was the team with the most points that had gained a lap that would get the win. UCI decided to take away those rules, and they were looking to try and simplify it just so it was more purely on points. So for the audience that didn't quite understand the Madison, they can at least understand that the team with the most points are the leaders, regardless of what laps have been taken. So it is now 20 points to take a lap, and then the normal sprints all the way through every 10 laps. All of the medals in the World Madison Championship this year in the men's race could have changed on the final sprint of the race. That's how tight it was, and with the double points on offer in that final sprint, it is so important to keep racing right to the very end. Do your best in that final. You can see the riders, one rider from each team lined up in the front straight, and the other rider from each team lined up in the back. Final instructions being given by Tony Tor, who is the president of the commissaire panel here at the Austral Night and National Madison Championships. Amelia Mulhern in the centre of the picture there. She was the limit marker in the women's Austral. Did a few laps out in front on her own. And as they roll down, they'll come around after the first lap, if they are all together, which you imagine they will be. They'll be let loose underway for 120 laps. And there's the whistle to get us underway. National Madison Championship for the women. Hayley Fuller it is that goes up around the outside. First lap of the race completed. Fuller leads, Georgia Baker in second position. You can see how attentive Georgia Baker is. As soon as a rider was coming up around the outside, she was very quick to just accelerate over the top of Fuller and make sure that she was in good position as they come to the first changeover. A real cluster of riders coming down to grab the hand of their partners. And so far, all successfully having done their change. Except for Georgia Baker, I noticed. Baker's still in the race, so her and Alex Manley not doing that first changeover. Pace is still fairly slow, won't affect Georgia too much. She's staying in the race for an extra couple of laps longer than perhaps she wanted. But it was a little bit messy. The first change is always difficult when the partners all come off the fence at the same time. It does get a little bit of traffic, a bit messy in there. Sophie Maher leads the way down the back. Nervous opening laps of the Madison Championship. Nobody wanting to spend too much time on the front. Don't want to waste too much energy. And Georgia Baker in the middle, just now about to do the change. with Alex Manley just at the back of the screen there. So Manley now comes in. Georgia gets a little bit of rest. Extra couple of laps in the legs for her just to start the Women's Madison. 114 laps to go. They'll now start thinking about this first of the intermediate sprints to come. 5, 3, 2 and 1 points on offer. And the gaps you can see just opening up a little bit, not from an acceleration at the front, but just because of the changeovers. Those hand slings, if you're not doing them well, gaps do start to form, and you're wasting energy having to bridge those gaps each time that happens. Expect the riders now to start thinking about being in the right position for this first of the sprints. Team number 1 is Georgia Baker and Alex Manley. And Manley it is that's popping up around the outside, so they'll get the bell the next time around for the first of the intermediate sprints. Alex Manley in third position, just now looking for her partner. Bell is about to sound, and there's going to be a lot of riders changing at the same time. This is going to be really hectic for the first sprint. And it's the VIS team at front that has really come away with this one. So really good riding there. Sophie Ma has done a good change. Georgia Baker is trying to come down onto her as well, but it's Sophie Ma that's going to pick up the first points. So 5 points going to the young riders of Sophie Ma from the Victorian Institute of Sport. Kira Will doing a great job of putting her into the position to pick up those 5 points. 3 points will go to Georgia Baker, and we can see already a gap just with that acceleration and the hectic nature of all of the teams changing at the same time. And a big gap has come up now. Sophie Edwards trying to get herself across that gap. 3 riders or 3 teams now out in front. And it doesn't take too much to really hurt the legs of those riders chasing. They don't have to fight to try and stay away. Just keep a little bit of tempo out in front, and that ensures the chasing riders have to dig really deep to bridge the gap. Do that a few times in this race and it will cost you at the end. Hayley Fuller, though, is really looking at the opportunity. 4 teams, with Sophie Edwards being able to get herself across, with Carter. Kira Will swings up, goes to the back. So big gap now and a mad scramble from those teams that missed this move. Carter with a change over to Sophie Edwards. That's team number 2. 105 laps to go. The next sprint not too far away. They'll come thick and fast, these sprints, every 10 laps. And in unison, 3 teams changing at the same time. Georgia Baker comes in to relieve Alex Manley. And Keely Bennett also takes over from Hayley Fuller. Sophie Ma look over the shoulder. Short turn of pace from her. Just looking to recover after that big sprint win that she just picked up. I'll come around to get 103 laps to go. And with the pace coming off a little bit at the front, we're seeing teams now rejoining. Almost the entire peloton back together. Still just 2-3 teams to make contact with the rear of the peloton to bring it all back to as one. 102 laps to go. So for those teams that have been fighting hard to get back in contact with the peloton, they're about to come to another sprint. So that's really going to put them to the sword if they don't get on the wheels of the peloton right now as we hear the bell for the second intermediate sprint. And it's Georgia Baker about to do a perfect change with Alex Manley. Manley goes down the back straight. Hayley Fuller from Bridge Lane chasing her, but it will be Manley that will pick up the second of the intermediates. So there's another 5 points to add to the 3 points they picked up from the first sprint. And Manley, as usual, noticing an opportunity. She has not eased off. She's gone on with this one, Manley. Now swings up. And again, 3 teams off the front. The Bridge Lane team and also the Victorian Institute of Sport team, or the colours of the VIS. As Kira Will, not a Victorian, not a part of that particular program, but combining here very well with Sophie Ma. Very attentive. Edwards again. So the same 4 teams that formed after the first sprint, forming again after the second. 2 more teams now coming across, and there is a real split. You see 6 teams out in front and 4 teams that have lost contact that were going to be in a lot of trouble if they have to keep fighting back on after each of these intermediate sprints. It is going to cost them dearly, the teams that are off the back. Nicole Duncan, under 19 scratch race world champ, about to make the changeover with Anna Dubier. So the 2 riders from New South Wales in the New South Wales Institute of Sport colours. Good to see those 2 young riders combining really well and keeping themselves in this front group. Keely Bennett swings up and out of the way. And Claudia Marks it is that comes through. Team number 5, Claudia Marks. And you can see the overall standings there. Team number 1, which is Baker and Manley, lead the way on 8 points, but only 1 point ahead of Team 3, which is Sophie Ma and Kira Will. So still tied at the top, but only 2 sprints in, 94 laps to go. Coming around to get 93, in fact. So 93 laps to go, 3 more laps until the next of the sprints. And Claudia Marks leads them through. Alex Manley in second position, then it's Sophie Edwards, Kira Will, Nicole Duncan, and at the back is Hayley Fuller. This is the group trying to get themselves back on. So the 4 teams that have missed the split after each of those sprints, and I think the gap is going to grow too much for them now because they're not too far away from the next sprint. It's the bell this time, 91 laps to go, and Sophie Ma, and a really late change with Sally Carter. She really had to put the brakes on there as she made the change over to Carter, but I think Carter might have enough speed in the legs with Georgia Baker trying to close down the gap. I think Carter, after a bit of a tricky change, she was still able to hold on to pick up the 5 points. But Sophie Edwards really had to put the handbrake on then as she was coming to do that change with 1 lap to go. Baker goes on with it though, as we saw Alex Manley go on with it after the last sprint. Georgia Baker likewise, looking for her partner. The gaps have really started to open up now, and the team that we thought would dominate this race are looking as if they are going to ride away with this. Georgia Baker and Alex Manley just making contact with those teams that were dropped earlier, and then the changeover. Awkward one, squeezing through there, Alex Manley, just getting underneath Keely Bennett. And again, it's a fight to get around these riders for Alex Manley. Ducking and weaving, and on she goes, safely through. Clean track ahead now, and Manley down the back straight. Sophie Edwards is the first of the teams trying to chase Alex Manley and Georgia Baker. You can see Sophie now coming up around the outside of those lapped riders, and she has Kira Will in tow with her. So Kira Will and Sophie Ma still really performing well here. They sit in second overall on 9 points, but it's this team here. Team number 1, Jaco Alula, leading the way on 11, 85 laps to go. Not too long till the next sprint, and they are looking so strong, these 2 riders out in front. What's left of the peloton, the lapped teams now being picked up by the rest of that field. Right at the very back there was Team Bridge Lane. They've been really good up until this point. Just being caught a little bit behind. The mess that we've seen is the peloton. 83 laps to go. Baker goes on with it. About to make another change with Alex Manley as they go down the back straight. Manley drops down. They've done this so many times. They did it so well at the World Championships in Glasgow. This is the chase group. Bridge Lane rectifying the position they were in from the back to the front. And now in the clear, trying not to waste too much energy. Hayley Fuller and Keely Bennett. This is Fuller that goes through. 82 laps to go. The next intermediate sprint coming up next time around. And if you can hear the bell in the background, that was Alex Manley coming through with 1 lap to go. So they'll pick up the 5 points. This is the scramble for the scraps in this next sprint. Alex Manley into the final straight, and that's the next 5 points going to their tally. And they're not too far from the back of the peloton now, the Jaco Alula squad. This is the sprint for second place. 3 points still on offer, and it's Kira Will that will get second. 3 points to her. And it was Killy Bennett from Bridge Lane picking up the next lot of points behind her. So the young VIS team doing really well. Ma and Kira Will consolidating their second position at the moment. There's Georgia Baker, not too far from the back of the peloton now. She's coming into the back straight as we see the peloton here just now going out of the back straight. So if they hesitate for much longer, it won't be too long until we see Georgia Baker and Alex Manley get themselves a lap on the field and gain 20 points for doing so. They sit on 16 points at the moment. Team number 3 on 12, so only 4 points between them. But Baker and Manley are on their way to a 20-point lap gain. There they are at the top of the screen, just coming into picture as the peloton come through for 76 laps to go. It's Alex Manley that is going to ride onto the back of the field, and she comes up over Claudia Marks to get 20 points. There's a lap gain there for Jaco Alula, team number 1. Leaders on the track, leaders on points, extra 20 points there. Really solid performance from those two. Well, both Alex Manley and Georgia Baker, after the previous 2 sprints, just putting pressure on, not backing off, not just sprinting for points and sitting up. Both of them on separate occasions kept the pressure on, and the last time they did it was Georgia Baker, and that took them away. They sailed around to pick up the lap and the 20 points. 36 points now for team number 1. Jaco Alula. Then it's the VIS colours, the youngsters, Ma and Will on 12 points. Keely Bennett and Hayley Fuller from Team Bridge Lane sitting third at the moment. Team number 9, they're sitting on 7 points. Very close between them and Edwards and Carter, team number 2. Attack off the front of the peloton this time as we get 71 laps to go. Sprint coming up. And Nicole Duncan, she wants the points. Team number 6, they have 1 point so far. They're about to pick up 5 here though. Alex Manley's gone out after her, but it'll be too late to pick up the points here. Duncan and Dubier will pick up the 5, and then Manley straight through underneath. And this is where we'll start to see a race for second and third, because team number 1 just looking so dominant early on in this race as we get 69 laps to go. A lot of these other teams will just start to focus on each other, thinking that they are out of the league of Baker and Manley. If they keep doing this, no one's going to have an answer for them. So Duncan and Dubier picked up the 5 points. That's handy for them. Team number 6 takes them to 6 total. Not too far away from the medals indeed. So that keeps them in contention for the medals. The gold medal though, that could be sailing away from everyone as Georgia Baker goes through with 67 laps to go. 39 points after picking up 3 for second place in that previous sprint. But it's another 20 points that they want from a lap gain. Maybe the real test for Georgia Baker and Alex Manley is how many laps they can take. What sort of tally can they get? How many points can they pick up from these lap gains? Pace is still on in the peloton, so they're not getting it all their own way. They haven't eased up back in the field. They're still spread out chasing each other. So it's going to be a big effort here from Manley and Baker. We know they can do it. They already have. And they'll get 64 laps to go. This is what's left of the field, spread out a little bit, but still with a bit of pace on. Marks it is in the Western Australian colours. Then it's Team Bridge Lane behind them. Manley with 64 laps to go. She goes down the back straight. She is half a lap from the back of the peloton. There's Georgia Baker waiting patiently. So a group of 3 now forming off the front. Again, Kira Will and Sophie Ma very prominent at the front. 63 laps to go. And Keely Bennett and Hayley Fuller in the Bridge Lane colours, also making sure they pay close attention to the young Victorian Institute of Sport squad. Claudia Marks about to do the change with Isla Carr, and 61 laps to go. Georgia Baker, another 5 points going to her tally. So she'll go to 44 points along with Alex Manley. So an easy points pick up for them. And this is now the sprint for the rest. And a big move again from Sophie Ma up around the outside. So another 5 points there for Alex Manley. Not too far from the back of the peloton. Actually difficult to work out where the peloton is. They are spread right around the track. She goes past another couple of teams. And she has Ella Sibley in tow as well, hoping to get herself dragged back up into contention. Belinda Bailey on the light blue coloured bike does the change behind. So this could be quite helpful for Sibley and Bailey sitting on the wheel of Alex Manley. This is the chase group of two now off the front. Two teams as we see just out in front of, this is Sophie Edwards. So just out in front of that group is the young team from the Victorian Institute of Sport. So they have gone out in front of, as we see Georgia Baker going past even more riders. And I think the commissaires may deem that a lap gain for them, passing so many of the riders now. They are spread right around the track. Sophie Edwards swings up. And it's Hayley Fuller in the Bridge Lane colours. So that's teams 3 and 4 on the track as the young Victorian Institute of Sport team number 3, are just out in front of this group here. So Sophie Edwards chasing hard to try and stop Sophie Ma and Kira Will from also gaining a lap on the field, as we've already seen Baker and Manley do. As they come through with 54 laps to go, just behind them as, coming into picture right now is Alex Manley. So the commissaires, the judges, haven't deemed a lap gain as yet. Just waiting for Alex Manley to get up to the back of this group now. Then there'll be the extra, they've done it now already. So 64 laps, so 2 laps taken, 40 extra points for doing so for both Manley and Baker. Straight around the outside as well. So Manley catching those next couple of teams and then going straight on with it. With Sophie Ma and Kira Will just out in front, Manley and Baker are desperate to shut that move down. So here we go, Georgia Baker on the move again. Bell lap again, 51 laps to go. And they may have, I think they might have rung the bell slightly too late, because I'm pretty sure Kira Will and Sophie Ma are out in front of that group of Georgia Baker. The remnants of the peloton coming through now with 51 laps to go. Now, commissaire has, I can see from my position, the commissaire has pointed to Georgia Baker picking up the 5 points there. But from what I could see, I think it was the young VIS colours that may have been out in front of them. So I'll wait and see if they do up that later on. Very messy out there now. 49 laps to go. Alex Manley leads down the back straight, and there's Sophie Ma now just being picked up. So from what I was witnessing, I think Sophie and Kira were ahead of Alex Manley and Georgia Baker at that previous sprint. So we'll just see what happens when the dust settles. So much going on here. Teams, riders spread all the way around the track. Really difficult to try and determine who's where and who's what. But they have given that previous sprint win to team number 1. Georgia Baker and Alex Manley. I'll wait for final confirmation of that. I think Team 3 may have picked that one up. So Baker, 46 laps to go. Kira Will in second position behind her. So they are giving Team 3 1 lap down. I didn't read it that way. That's what they're saying, is that they lost a lap. I actually thought they were out in front. So we'll keep you updated on that one, see whether I'm right or they're right. We'll wait and see. But in the meantime, Georgia Baker looking so comfortable with Alex Manley. Sophie Edwards just in front of her. 44 laps to go now. Remember, double points on the final sprint, and you're going by the standings now. We have teams 2 and 9 equal on 10 points. So the silver medal still very much up for grabs here. And I can see one of the officials from the Victorian Institute of Sport just coming over to the officials to have a conversation. So I think what I was explaining before, that Team 3, I think they were out in front. Commissaires maybe misread that and thought they were lapped, but I don't think that was the case. So there is a discussion happening inside the track with the officials about team number 3, the dark blue colours of the VIS. That's Sophie Ma and Kira Will. I do expect for those points to change, and we'll see Team 3 go up into second place overall. Another sprint coming up, though. 41 laps to go. And guess who? Alex Manley off the front. Big gap to second position. Anna Dubier it is that's trying to close things down and get herself into the points for team number 6. They're minus 14 at the moment. This is the chase group out the back, just trying to survive this race as Georgia Baker comes through for another 5 points. And again, goes on with it, keeping the pressure on. She wants another lap gain. And as Baker goes down the back straight, the one team that's able to bridge across, perhaps proving my point that I've been trying to present, is Kira Will from the VIS colours. So Team 3 have been able to jump across, and they still haven't updated the overall standings for Team 3 just yet. But Team number 1 leading the way, 74 points. What a gap back to Team 9, 2, 5 and 3. Absolutely smashing this race to pieces is Georgia Baker and Alex Manley. The silver medalists from the World Championships in Glasgow. You'd expect this kind of performance from such a strong international duo. Manley coming over the top of the lapped teams. That's that group of 4 teams that were unable to hang on after the first intermediate sprints. Eventually the elastic broke and they've just not been able to stick with the peloton and losing several laps now. Sophie Ma it is on the front. Alex Manley pops into 4th position. And we see just behind her, Team Bridge Lane also keeping themselves in the mix. That's Hayley Fuller. Alana Haribar just about to make the change now with Amelia Mulhern, team number 11 on the front. So Mulhern with the black arm warmers. Actually, I think it's a skin suit underneath that jersey. Kira Will leads down the back straight. Up high on the handlebars there, though, is Georgia Baker, looking extremely comfortable. Now decides to go down into the drops. 33 laps to go. 2 laps to the next bell for the intermediate sprint. Kira Will willing to stay on the front. Now Baker. Up around the outside, Hayley Fuller going with her. Kira Will fighting on the inside. She'll pop into 3rd, maybe 4th position as Sally Carter comes over the top into 3rd position with that blue aerodynamic helmet. She changes very high on the track in 4th position. Bridge Lane now make the changeover. And it's 31 laps to go. Georgia Baker leads the way. Keely Bennett is in 2nd position. Alex Manley now comes into the race as they go down the back straight, and Keely Bennett fighting hard to stay on the wheel of Alex Manley, and a gap a little bit back to Sophie Edwards. So Manley picks up another 5. Will she again keep the pressure on? No, for the first time in a long time, deciding just to ease off the accelerator a little bit, and that would be a welcome sight to so many of the teams that have been chasing hard to try and stay with the Jayco Alula team. 29 laps to go. Bennett goes through, team number 9. And it's team number 1, Alex Manley. Team 2, Sally Carter. And then off the hand change from Sophie Ma, we see Kira Will pop up round the outside comfortably there in 4th position. Team 9 change on the front. Fuller comes in. Keely Bennett now can have 2.5 to 3 laps to rest before she will be required back in the race. And a nice change for Manley and Georgia Baker. Very comfortable and smooth, not wasting any energy in those changes. So good to have a good hand sling. You can gain so much speed off a good change. And we can see the updates at the bottom of the screen now. So Team 3 have been put back up into 2nd place. So I wasn't seeing things out on the track. So it's good to see that that has been rectified. Kira Will and Sophie Ma being put back into 2nd place for team number 3. 24 points, 11 points is their advantage over the Bridge Lane team of Keely Bennett and Hayley Fuller. Handy little lead to have with 3 sprints remaining. Very close though, still between Team 9 and Team 2. So Team 9, Bennett and Fuller from Bridge Lane, and Team number 2, which is Sally Carter and Sophie Edwards. That's Edwards sitting in 3rd position there. Only 2 points between them for the bronze medal at the moment. Isla Carr about to make the change with Marks. So team number 5, Isla Carr out. Claudia Marks comes in. West Australian colours, but Claudia Marks is from Canberra, ACT. And 22 laps to go. So Bell will come next time around, and that's exactly why Alex Manley has popped over the top. She could look around the track and see exactly where Georgia Baker is and wants to make the change right at the very front. 21 laps to go. Change is made. Sally Carter in 2nd position. Happy to sit right on the wheel there of Georgia Baker as they go down the back straight. And that acceleration from Manley into Baker has opened up another gap to the 3rd team on the track. Another 5 points going to Jaco Alula, team number 1. Handy 3 points there, though, for team number 2, Sally Carter. In the race for the minor medals, that's a handy position to be in. Scramble behind the 2 teams that have been right up in the mix there for the medals as well. Team Bridge Lane and also the VIS. Team number 9, team number 3 now getting back to those 2 lead teams. 18 laps to go. And it's these 4 solid teams that have really made this race, with the standouts, of course, being Jaco Alula. 82 points now. What an incredible tally they have already amassed, team number 1. Only 1 point in it, though, between Team 9 and Team number 2 for the bronze medal. 15 points total, still on offer. One more 5-point sprint to come. Then it's the double points for the final sprint. 10, 6, 4 and 2. Looking good, though, with that many points still to come. Team 3 looking very solid to hold on to that silver medal position, but it's mathematically possible to see them lose that silver. So a real fight to hold on to silver, and definitely an absolute battle for that bronze medal between teams 9 and team 2. Sally Carter, 3rd position. It's Keely Bennett that leads down the back straight for Team Bridge Lane. Alex Manley in 2nd position. There's the corporate area. The bar set up in the inside of the track. 14 laps to go. And Hayley Fuller now on the front. Manley quite happy to sit there in 2nd position. Change over to Georgia Baker as they go down the back straight. And it will be an acceleration you'd expect from Georgia Baker to try and set Alex Manley up for this next sprint. 13 laps to go now. paying some attention to the race. Bit of chin wagging going on the inside. So Baker it is that leads away. Manley is riding extremely slow outside of the race now, just to make sure she doesn't get too far around as they get to this next intermediate sprint. And a big move from Sophie Ma down the back straight though. So Ma goes over the top of Georgia Baker as they come around to the penultimate sprint with 11 laps to go. The changeover will happen just behind them though, as Baker changes to Alex Manley. But a really good move there from Sophie Ma. She is riding so strongly here in Melbourne. And a big performance, though, from Alex Manley to come around the outside and bridge the gap. So she did everything right there, Sophie Ma. She went just at the right time, but just the superior strength and speed of Alex Manley off that incredible change of Georgia Baker was enough to get the win. Another 5 points going to Jayco Alula, team number 1. So Kira Will has come in for Sophie Ma, and again it's a scramble to try and hold on to the Jayco Alula team out in front. The gap has immediately opened up again. 8 laps to go, and Baker comes in once more. Behind them is 2 teams. Team 2 and Team 9 are combining just behind team number 1. But they are certainly not going as fast as Georgia Baker out in front. Here they are, you can see, look over the shoulder, drifting up the track. They know they're racing each other. They're not really in contention against team number 1, are they? 87 points now for Jayco Alula. And with 6 laps to go, they are looking to steal another 20 points by gaining a lap on the field. Manley comes in. And the peloton not spread out as much as it has been, so they know exactly what they need to do. 5 laps to go. Can they get another lap on the field? The peloton themselves will start to accelerate for this final sprint. Double points on offer. Super important for the bronze medal. 16 points tied coming into this final sprint. Team 9 and Team 2. So Carter and Edwards up against Bennett and Fuller. So the Bridge Lane team in second position there, as we saw in that last shot. They will be fighting hard for the points in this final sprint. Bronze medal absolutely is up for grabs. Team 3, they are holding down the silver medal. They cannot be beaten with only 10 points to be gained in this final sprint. Team number 1 are going to win gold. Team 3 will get the silver, but it's now a race for the bronze. 3 laps to go for the peloton, 2 laps to go for the team out in front. Jayco Alula, Georgia Baker desperately trying to get to the back of the peloton. She wants to finish this one on a high and gain another lap on the field. I don't think there's going to be enough track, or is there? They will get 2 laps to go for the peloton, 1 lap to go now for Georgia Baker. She's absolutely putting everything into this to try and get to the peloton in this last lap and gain another 20 points. Meanwhile, out in front, there's a big sprint, though, happening behind. This is now 1 lap to go for Sally Carter. Georgia Baker hasn't quite made the lap on the field. It doesn't matter anyway. They get the 10 points. They win the Madison Championships. Brilliant performance from Georgia Baker and Alex Manley. And Sally Carter it is that will come through to get second in that final sprint. And that will give team number 2 the bronze medal over Team Bridge Lane. So it did come down to that final sprint for the bronze medal. Sally Carter and Sophie Edwards coming away with bronze just ahead of Killy Bennett and Hayley Fuller. But gold all the way for Jayco Alula. Fantastic performance, dominant display of Madison racing, speed and skill to get the job done. Team number 1, Jayco Alula, Georgia Baker and Alex Manley are the Australian Madison champions for 2023. Sophie Ma and Kira Will, team number 3, picking up the silver medal. So great ride from those 2 youngsters as well. But they were putting on a clinic out there tonight. Manley and Baker, what a performance. The silver medalists from the World Championships, now the gold medalists here together at the National Champs. Final confirmation, almost 100 points. Incredible, 3 points shy. What a display. And a good solid ride there, team number 3. So the young riders of Sophie Ma and Kira Will, silver medal for them. And a reminder, Sally Carter with that final sprint win from the rest of them to pick up the 6 points that were on offer, to jump ahead of Keely Bennett and Hayley Fuller to pick up the bronze. Well, the crowd really appreciating that performance from our international superstars, medalists of the World Championships together. They've won Nations Cups, Madison's also. Really good, solid riding. Perfect timing as well, coming into an Olympic year. They are expected to be our Madison team at the Olympics in Paris next year. And with the silver medal really giving them some confidence from this year's World Championships, you can expect some big things from Manley and Baker as we go into the Paris Olympic Games. And these are the 4 teams that really did dominate the race, didn't they? Of course, team number 1, Jacob Alula, dominating a little bit more than everybody else, but it was every time the race split, it was those 4, that combination of 4 teams that found themselves at the front. Got a feel for Keely Bennett and Hayley Fuller from Team Bridge Lane, though. They were in the medals all the way till that final sprint, and both riders have spent so much time racing on the road in the National Road Series the last couple of seasons. Not a lot of track time from either of those riders, so good to see them back on the boards, and a little bit of disappointment, though, that they did finish off the podium. Outside of those top 4 teams, best of the rest in 5th place was team number 6, Anna Dubier, and also Nicole Duncan. So another young team that are getting a lot of experience from racing at this level. And one more race to come tonight. That's the Men's National Madison Championship. It'll be a real battle between last year's winners, Kel O'Brien and Graham Frisley, now being split up this time. O'Brien with Blake Agnoletto, Frisley with Liam Walsh. So that'll be very interesting to see. See the men coming out now, getting their presentations underway. This is team number 14, Joel Douglas and Bailey O'Donnell, 2 riders from New Zealand. Their elite men's team were very solid at the World Championships this year.
Someone burned down your house with you inside. Do you know anyone that would do this?
I know about your little secret. Are you threatening me?
This is a line. Rock and roll, baby.
I am a completely changed person.
Alone Australia. Stream free on SBS On Demand.
I won't lie to you, Liam. I'm having trouble finding something as fulfilling as hockey.
What's your job this summer? Shorzy, life after hockey is tough.
Shorzy, stream free on SBS On Demand. 2025 passed you by. Here's what you've missed.
Stop. Tell me everything.
Our next mission is utter madness.
Let's get to work.
This is the event you all been waiting for.
The year's best shows, movies, and more.
We may be beyond saving, but we gotta try.
The best of 2025 Hub. Stream free on SBS On Demand.
Dylan Ether on the left-hand side there in the green Cache Park Cup colours. Fast. Hey Louise, the start list I have is different. I don't have some of these team numbers on my start list. Has there been a change?
With the number 10 saddle plot. Waterfield, 17 teams, 34 riders on the track as they come around and will be dead on their way. 200 laps. That is 50 kilometres. Going out nicely, first of all, is the rider from New Zealand, is Oliver Watson Palmer. IG, the New Zealanders have been very impressive here.
Oh, the Australian Madison Championship for the men. And a big field of riders. Very interesting combinations out there tonight. Kellen O'Brien with Blake Agnoletto, perhaps the favourites. The freshest legs, as they weren't riding in the Omnium yesterday, as both Graham Frisley and Liam Walsh, who finished first and second in that Omnium, did. So 4 bunch races for the Omnium these days. And while the peloton all strung out, not super fast, just at the back of the bunch, there are 3 teams that really messed up that start, that are scrambling to try and get themselves onto the back of the peloton. So that is going to cost them dearly in a 200-lap race. And the first 3 laps, they've been absolutely tearing themselves apart just to get back into contention. And there's the first crash. One rider touching down. That's really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. That was one of the New Zealand riders, team number 15. But now you can see the gaps opening up, and they are not letting up here. Straight into it here. 195 laps to go. And might be a problem with the helmet. This could be a real issue for the New Zealand rider that has touched down. That'd be really unfortunate. He's standing up. He looks okay, as I can see him from my position. 194 laps to go. First sprint not too far away. Graham Frisley it is that leads through. Just popping up around the outside, 3rd position there. That's Kel O'Brien. So Frisley on the front, O'Brien in 3rd position. They are the 2. They were the combination that won this championship last year. So this is going to be fascinating. Well, to see if a New Zealand rider can get back in is one, and I hope he can. But also to see who can get the best. And it was a mistake of his own, unfortunately. Not going on the outside of the change. Got himself caught underneath. And he's thrown the arms up as if it was someone else's fault, but it wasn't. It was the young man from across the Tasman's fault as they go into the first sprint down the back straight. And Agnoletto trying to come up over the top of Liam Walsh here. He's not going to be able to get there. So Liam Walsh picks up the first points. So Liam Walsh picks up the first points ahead of Blake Agnoletto. Good first sprint. And we can see our New Zealand rider still in a bit of trouble, unable to get himself up and going. So his partner must stay in the race now on his own, not doing the hand changes, not getting any rest. And we can see now he has rectified the situation. He's able to get himself back out onto the track. So that's fantastic news. That's Edward Pawson and Oliver Watson-Palmer, his teammate, will be so happy to see the man in black back on the track so he can get some rest. He's been out there now for almost 10 laps. So difficult to stay in the race while everybody else is doing these hand changes, getting some rest. But I must say it was Ed Pawson who was a mistake of his own going under the change. Thankfully, he's not too badly hurt, and you can see him right at the very top of the track now, about right at the very back, just about to make the change. So the two riders in black from New Zealand have finally been able to make the change. Sam McKee changes over to Dylan Ether in the green colours of Keish Parkoop on the front. 184 laps to go as they come around this time. Not too far till the next of the sprints. Just settled down a little bit here after those frantic first few laps. Connor Lay floats up around the outside. Team number 6 goes to the front in the red colours. Multiple Australian individual pursuit champion looking for Will Holmes. Western Australian on the front looking over the shoulder. They'll have 182 laps to go. So now getting themselves ready for the next sprint. So Connor Lay gets swamped in the rush for position. Moriarty it is from Queensland, the QAS colours. Kell O'Brien in second position as the bell sounds this time, 181. And O'Brien about to make the change to Blake Agnoletto. Really tight at the front, forcing everybody high on the track. That's to the advantage of Agnoletto. Not ideal, a little bit dangerous, but it works well for the VIS riders. And team number 1, Agnoletto, second in the first sprint, first in the second. Frisley was still in the mix as well, so not too badly done by was team number 2, Graham Frisley, after winning the first sprint. They'll pick up points in the second one as well. You can see just how hectic it is just to get into position, make those changes as close to around the bell as possible. The rider that does do the sprint is also obliged to cover any moves that happen immediately after they cross the line in those sprints. Have to pay attention, try and smother any attacks that happen immediately after. One point at the top after 2 sprints. O'Brien and Agnoletto in first position, team number 1, in the dark blue colours of the Victorian Institute of Sport. In the light blue national team colours with the white shoulders, team number 3, Graham Frisley and Liam Walsh. And a big move coming though from team 4, and another crash. And it's Graham Frisley that's gone down this time. 2 riders have gone down. Frisley was the first one to hit the track. Hoping both riders are okay. A lot of sliding, high speeds. So they'll be definitely losing a little bit of skin, but let's just hope that both riders can get themselves back up onto the track. 175 laps to go. And one of the pre-race favourites there, Graham Frisley. Certainly looking winded. So hectic out there, fighting for position. These guys are really racing for championships here tonight. Meanwhile, Kurt Ether and John Carter still lead the way. 173 to go. A couple of laps to the next sprint. So the Cache Park Cup colours of green. You can see just swinging out there because it's his partner. That was Dylan Ether, Sam McKee, that went down in the crash. So this is a tough ask now for Dylan Ether, as we see McKee. Oh, it's Ether that's coming in, I should say. McKee was the rider that's out of the race. No, it is still the other way around. So they've got the wrong coloured numbers on, but McKee now coming back on as we get the next intermediate sprint. Another big change as they go down the back straight. 171 laps to go. We see Cache Parkoop getting themselves up and going again, but this is the sprint for the points. And once again, it's Blake Agnoletto that comes away with the 5 points. Doing it comfortably in the points and taking advantage of Graham Frisley laying down on the inside of the track there, unfortunately for him. So no points for Frisley and Walsh this time after that crash. And maximising their advantage by picking up the sprint, their main rivals in Blake Agnoletto and Kell O'Brien, team number 1. So the race spread right around the velodrome at the moment. Kell O'Brien now comes in. John Carter is just in behind them. Also a New Zealand team, Joel Douglas and Bailey O'Donnell, team number 14. So they're about to make the change. O'Donnell comes in. Look over the track there from Kell O'Brien, just assessing the situation. Do they need to go on with this? So Graham Frisley about half a lap behind after getting back onto the track after that crash. So a real scramble now for Walsh and Frisley, second favourites for this championship, to get themselves back in the mix. These are the 3 teams they are trying to chase. O'Brien changes to Agnoletto, third position. 4 teams now as the Queenslanders come up to the back. Moriarty and Tompkinson. This is Tyler Tompkinson on the red bike, 4th position. Team 1 on 13 points. Handy little lead now, 164 laps to go. And Agnoletto comes through. Leader on the track is Agnoletto. 5 teams out in front. And still a scramble for Graham Frisley. About a quarter of a lap now is Walsh and Frisley behind this group. So a real hard chase for team number 3 to get themselves back in contention. This is going to hurt them dearly. They missed points in the last sprint and they've had to chase harder than anyone out there to get themselves back in contention. They'll be looking for a breather after this. Front of the race is split in 2. Still those 5 teams out in front. Not too far is the gap now back to the chasers right behind them. Leaders coming around to get the next of the intermediate sprints. And it will be Kell O'Brien that shoots over the top, searching for Blake Agnoletto. High on the track is the change. So Agnoletto comes in. Tompkinson and Moriarty coming around the outside for the QAS. And here comes team number 1. Agnoletto does it again. Picks up the points. A little bit closer this time, but it's enough. 5 points go to team number 1. That's 3 sprint wins, I think, there for Blake Agnoletto. Well set up from Kell O'Brien. Really hectic moment then as they did catch lap teams, making the change right in the middle of that. Super high on the track, got it all done safely. And O'Brien comes back in. Moriarty now comes in for Tompkinson in second position. And it's John Carter, the blue shoulders, in third, now going through to the front. And just behind them we can see Graham Frisley behind the green colours of Cache Parkoop. Graham Frisley, it's Liam Walsh. Oh, Frisley it is. Frisley that has regained the peloton now. So, wow, mad scramble there for Frisley and Walsh after Graham crashed. But they now have finally got themselves back up to the leaders. There they are still, just sitting behind the green colours of Cache Parkoop. And time for rest for Frisley and Walsh. Team number 3 still sitting second in the overall standings despite that scramble to come back from the crash. Missed the last 2 sprints, still holding down second position for now. 155 laps to go. Plenty of time for Frisley and Walsh, team number 3, to get themselves back in contention for gold here tonight. The Australian Madison Championships, and at the moment, team number 1, Kell O'Brien and Blake Agnoletto looking very strong indeed. 18 points, team number 3 sitting on 7. Then it's very tight between the rest. So the points behind have been a real even spread in these first intermediate sprints, except for team number 1, as it was in the women's that have dominated early on. And there's Graham Frisley, the replay of the crash. Didn't quite see what happened there. Clip of wheels. Graham's gone down. Coming around to get the next sprint, though. 151 laps to go. And it's the New Zealand team out in front this time. Team 14, Kell O'Brien in second. Graham Frisley sits there in third. So good to see Frisley back into the points this time. But it's going to be New Zealand that are going to come away with maximum points. So Douglas and O'Donnell will come through, and that's Bailey O'Donnell from the Canterbury Cycling Club. Good to see the Kiwis right up in the mix. Now that things have spread out a little bit, slightly less hectic. As long as you're out in front, a little bit less traffic to have to negate. And Liam Walsh has decided he's had enough. They've done the chasing, they've had a crash, now has gone on the attack with 149 laps to go. This has caused a bit of a ruckus behind as Blake Agnoletto now desperately trying to close this down. Swings up, swings down. Agnoletto changes to O'Brien. And that was interesting of Liam Walsh. And there we see the damage. He's back on the track. It really must have hurt. We saw McKee also going down in the green colours. So off the change, Graham Frisley did go on with that. 146 laps to go. O'Brien quick to shut it down. The black colours, team 15, also from New Zealand, Oliver Watson-Palmer. Liam Walsh comes in to take over from Frisley. Showed some great character there. I really enjoyed that. Liam Walsh, after the chase, missed out on 2 sprints, going on the attack, and then Frisley not swinging up after the change either, really also putting some pressure on the pedals, trying to make a statement there. 10 points to overcome now after missing those 2 intermediate sprints. New Zealand team, number 14, still on the front. They've been lobbed on the front for a few laps here now. This is Bailey O'Donnell down the back straight. Liam Walsh sitting in second position. Then Kell O'Brien coming in off the hand change of Blake Agnoletto. 142 laps to go, and they'll get the bell for the next intermediate next time around. So looking over their shoulders, looking for position. Walsh changes to Frisley. And there will be maybe a change still to come from the VIS team, but 41 laps to go now, and it's Frisley that leads down the back straight. O'Brien in second position. They won't be able to make their change on this sprint lap, as Agnoletto will be a little bit further just past the line as they come up. So Frisley picks up the 5 ahead of O'Brien. Now Agnoletto comes in. So a nice even fight that was, as Walsh is also now about to come down and do the change with Graham Frisley. Good bounce back from Frisley and Walsh. Still some points to overcome, but showing that they have it in the legs to still, as we saw Walsh almost hit the wheel, they still have it in the legs to perhaps race for the gold medal here tonight. That was close. So Moriarty in the Queensland Academy of Sport colours. Team number 5 on the front. Still not at the halfway point. So much has already happened. 2 crashes. Both riders, or 3 riders that went down, all back into the race. And here we see here as Walsh wanted to come down, the boys in front went up, and ooh, that was tight. So a real race in 2 at the moment. O'Brien pops through underneath, puts a bit of pressure on the pedals. They had eased off a little bit. He doesn't want them to slacken off just too much or too soon. So there are 4 teams that have been dropped in that last sprint effort. You can see the peloton really has backed off, backing up a little bit, swinging up the track, and still there are those 4 teams that have not been able to regain contact. This is perhaps their opportunity just before the next sprint. So 133 laps to go, so they will be starting to think about the position. So peloton will accelerate very soon as they get ready for this next sprint. New Zealand team number 15 still on the front, 132 laps to go. So 2 New Zealand teams, 15 and 14. First and second position now. And now we can see the scramble as they start to get to position. And it is Walsh that's popped up around the outside of Blake Agnoletto, both looking for their partners. And it'll be Walsh that gets to 131 laps to go. Quick change there to Graham Frisley as they go down the back straight. And Frisley has opened up a couple of lengths over Kell O'Brien. Frisley, the quicker of these 2 in outright speed, so you'd expect Graham to hold on to this one comfortably, as he does. There's 5 points to Graham Frisley, but only a 2-point advantage over Kell O'Brien, who finished in second. And O'Brien immediately diving underneath Frisley to go on the attack. Just a tester, though, from Kell. Putting a little bit of extra pressure on Frisley, and Grizzly Frisley quite comfortably shouldered that. 1:28 to go. Walsh comes back in. Really well set up there from Liam Walsh. Attacked at the right moment, opened up a gap, and Frisley could coast to the line. So only picking up those 2 points over their main rivals each time. So they'll be desperately trying to force O'Brien and Agnoletto further down in those intermediate sprints just to try and pick up a 3 or a 5 point buffer to try and close that gap down a little bit more. 27 versus 19. And the New Zealand team, Team 14, Joel Douglas and Bailey O'Donnell, still looking really good, flying under the radar slightly. They did pick up a sprint win, and they are looking nice and solid there in 3rd position, with Team 5 sitting in 7 points in 4th place. So James Moriarty and Tyler Tompkinson, the Queenslanders, sitting there in 4th. John Carter comes in with the blue shoulders, the black body. Ether, his teammate, now gets a moment to rest before Carter comes back around again. 123 laps to go now. John Carter, who has put himself into the National Endurance Program, just come off a training camp in Adelaide as well, so he really has come on very strong indeed in the last 12 months or so. And again, looking to try and pick up some points here. 122 to go. You'll be looking for Ether, who is just down the back end of the back straight now. So strong ride here from Carter. Team 14 from New Zealand in good position as well, though. Ether comes in. Team number 4, Kurt Ether from Dubbo, down the back straight. He's fast. Liam Walsh about to make the change to Graham Frisley. Very late change, but it'll be okay to finish the second in this on this occasion. So Ether with the 5 points. Frisley with the 3. And then it was O'Donnell, team number 14 from New Zealand, picking up the 2 points. Only 1 point this time for the dark blue colours of Kell O'Brien. So another 2 points for Team 3 over Team 1. Just closing that gap a little bit more. So 28 to 22 now, only 6 points between them. Remember, Team 3 missed out completely on 2 sprints after the crash of Graham Frisley. So this is a really solid ride from the team sitting in second position, Frisley and Walsh. Liam Walsh comes in. And an attack over the top, while you focus on the top 2 or 3 teams, it is always an opportunity for the teams further down the rankings. Team 6, Connolly and Will Holmes. And this is Holmes that comes around. It's 1:16 to go, and Will Holmes, you can see the wiry figure. He's an endurance athlete, loves to get out on the front, and he has really opened up a gap. The top teams are looking at each other here. And Connolly doesn't need much of an ask to go on the attack. Here he is, the big individual pursuit champion of Australia. He's been our best rider over 4 kilometres on his own. He loves this. Get out in front, push the wind. Connolly can do it all day. And they are already half a lap on the bunch. 114 laps to go. They don't have any points to their tally just yet. Sitting in equal 7th place. If they can gain this lap, there'll be 20 points. It'll put them right up into the mix. Solid riding. So they're just going around the riders that are being dropped. And they're only about a quarter of a lap from the back of the peloton. There they are in the red colours. So 3rd position there, the red helmet, that's Will Holmes. A couple more teams to get around the outside of. And the peloton not really under pressure. So this is fantastic for Connolly and Will Holmes, team number 6. They will get 111 laps to go. So the bell sounds for Will Holmes as he comes through. He's in a lot of traffic. And we can see the team of Agnoletto and O'Brien chasing the scraps out in front. They get the bell now for their sprint, because Will Holmes and Connolly will pick up the 5 points. Still trying to chase a lap, though. That's the big question, though, for Connolly and Will Holmes. Can they get their lap? Team number 6 in the red colours of the South Australian Sports Institute. 110 laps to go. Agnoletto picked up the points for 2nd, just ahead of Liam Walsh. So that was your race for 2nd and 3rd in that sprint. Holmes and Lay had already picked up the 5. And now this is an opportunity for the team that's on the attack. If the peloton eases slightly here, this will give them a chance to gain the lap on the field, pick up the 20 points that they're desiring. Team number 6. 108 laps to go. And here it is, the lap's about to be taken. So just at the back of the peloton, this is the peloton here. At the back of this, team number 6 in the red colours have just made contact. And there they are, they peer into the picture. And a lap gain, 20 points added to their tally. So picked up the 5 points for the sprint win, but the lap gain, that's what really counted. And that has put them straight up to 2nd position on 25 points. Great ride there from Holmes and Connolly. Perfectly timed. Happens all the time. The big teams start looking at each other, thinking about the gold medal and who's going to do all the chasing. And a team as strong as Lay and Holmes go on the attack, gain a lap, put themselves in the mix. They hold down the silver medal position for now. $104 laps to go. The black colours of New Zealand. Watson Palmer and Pawson on the front. And there's Connolly in the red colours. The South Australian Sports Institute skin suit. He is a Western Australian, though. And solid ride by them. Only 1 point, though, over Team 3, Frisley and Walsh. And they didn't have any points at all, Team number 6, until they went on the attack. Important for them now, though, not to stay too far at the back, because if the gaps open up, all they'll end up doing is bridging gaps, wasting energy. If they can get a little bit further towards the front of the peloton, get some rest in the legs, then they may be able to go on the attack later, as we see Will Holmes into the next sprint. We're just about to get to the halfway point at the end of this lap now, and Graham Frisley goes down the back straight. Agnoletto coming at him. He's got a couple of lengths to pick up, though, and it's Walsh it is, not Frisley. It's Walsh that picked up the 5. Agnoletto with the 3. So another 2 points, slowly bringing that lead back. Good riding from Team 3, solid performances already from Team 1, and the next of the attacks from one of the smaller teams, not as well recognised. And it's Tompkinson that has gone on the attack. Another strong combination, Tompkinson and James Moriarty. So we've already seen the Australian individual pursuit champion take a lap. How about the silver medalist, James Moriarty, from earlier this year? Can he gain a lap as well? Kel O'Brien comes in, look over the shoulder, doesn't want to be on the front, swings up, gets out of the way. Meanwhile, James Moriarty and Tyler Tompkinson are half a lap ahead of the field after that attack. It's opened up so quickly. Peloton hesitated and the gap has really opened up. Team 15 on the attack now as well. A little bit further down in the standings. No points for them just yet. So the Kiwis have been able to go and get a little bit of room off the front. 2 points, I should say. They have 2 points so far, Team 15, in the black colours. Well, the pace is off in the peloton. We've got 2 teams off the front and one not too far from getting to the back of the field. So another lap gain is absolutely on the cards here. So as the peloton go out of the back straight, the Queenslanders are just coming through that final bend. 93 laps to go. Down the back straight once again for the peloton, and just at the back of this group, you should see them come into shot, will be the Queensland colours. Moriarty and Tompkinson. Almost about to appear, and I think they might be holding off for the next sprint. I really think the Queenslanders, this is dangerous. They're holding off. They're just hovering off the back of the peloton. Holding off for this next sprint. They want the extra 5 points to gain, but that's risky. Look at Agnoletto. He's really gone for it. The bell has sounded for the Queensland team. They are off the back of the peloton. Agnoletto has gone to the front. Really getting the pace going. 1 lap to go now for Kel O'Brien. This is going to be tough for the Queenslanders. They picked up the 5 points as they've just come through the finish line. This is the race for second in the sprint. Kel O'Brien will pick up 3 points for second. Connor Lay, team number 6, they're in the mix now for some points as well. Good riding from them. Now the question will go back to Queensland. Can they close this gap down now and get the lap? They were right on the back of the peloton. Really dangerous. Dicing with fire to play with the peloton like that. If the pace stays on, they may not gain this lap. This could be a pleasing sight. You can see the pace now has come off. Agnoletto swings up the track. Move from the New Zealanders underneath, team number 14. And as they've swung up, there's Moriarty coming on. So the Queensland colours coming through underneath. Finally, after playing with fire, the Queensland team of Moriarty and Tompkinson, they pick up the 5 points that they wanted and then gain the lap to get the 20. So another 25 points going to the tally of the Queensland team, team number 5. Whew, risky business for the Queenslanders, but they got the job done. Now there is another attack off the front. Team number 14, the New Zealanders, Douglas and O'Donnell. While that was all happening, they have snuck up the front and they get 83 laps to go as they come through. So this is the peloton just behind the 2 teams that are out in front of them. Only about a quarter of a lap between them. So Liam Walsh leads them through, but they still have to close down this gap to the New Zealand team that's out in front. They don't need another team gaining another 20 points for a lap. There's the second of the New Zealand teams in black. They're sitting back in the main field, but right out in front, though, is the second of the New Zealand teams. This is the sprint at 81 laps to go, and Agnoletto chasing once again second in this sprint because the 5 points are out in front. They cross the line now, the New Zealanders, so they pick up the 5 points. Agnoletto, he comes through for 3 points in second, and the second of the New Zealand teams in black, they were third in that particular sprint. 2 points for them. Only 1 point on offer that time around for Frisley and Walsh. So there's Frisley and Walsh. Walsh it is that sits just behind the New Zealand team, team number 14. So just out in front we can see Agnoletto and O'Brien just now catching the New Zealand team that were off the front. So that's team 15 being reabsorbed, but they did pick up the 5 points while they were out there. So the two New Zealand teams, both Team 15 and 14, riding really well tonight. Solid performances from them. Oliver Watson-Palmer and Edward Pawson is Team 15, the team in black for New Zealand. Solid ride from them, but Joel Douglas and Bailey O'Donnell, really good attack to pick up those last 5 points. 76 laps to go. They'll come around 75 as it just clicks over on the scoreboard. Pawson from New Zealand comes through. Liam Walsh in second position. And with that lap gain from Moriarty and Tompkinson, they put themselves now up into third place. Second place, I should say. Team 5 jumping over the top of Team 3. So good, solid riding there from the Queenslanders, now in the silver medal position. Team 1 still leading the way, but the gap isn't opening up so much. They were really dominant early on. Blake Agnoletto picking up 3 sprints. Of course, 2 of those were when Graham Frisley was lying on the inside of the track. 72 laps to go now. And the race for positioning. It's Kel O'Brien on the front. They will get the bell this time around for 71 laps to go. O'Brien looking for Agnoletto. They want to try and open the margin up a little bit. Walsh, that is it, in second position. Agnoletto comes through. And Walsh up around the outside. Agnoletto off the hand change, though. Fights down the back straight. This is the peloton further back down. Out in front of them, though, are the 2 riders racing for the sprint. And it will be Agnoletto that gets the sprint win. Walsh in second position. This is the race for third. It was the New Zealand team that picked up third. But out in front of those were the 2 teams out in front, picking up the 5 and the 3. So Team 1 with a sprint win. They desperately needed those. They would have been pretty confident early on, opening up a gap, but they haven't had it all their own way since then. So 44 points now. 11 points is their lead to Team 5. So Agnoletto and O'Brien just starting to get a little bit more control of this race. And another crash. So a crash coming into the home straight. One of the Western Australian riders. Jack Dola it is. Got up pretty quickly. So his body looks okay. See if the bike is all right. 67 laps to go. .66 to go. Frisley comes through. Team number 2 in the pink colours doing the change behind. That's Alex Hughes and Luke Reichert. 2 riders from the Gold Coast. It's where I grew up, racing at the Nerang Cycling Club back in the day. So good to see some more Gold Coasters here at the National Championships. And the yellow colours at the back, there it is, and it was in the change. So unfortunately coming together in the change. So unfortunate for Jack Dola, just connecting with Sam Washington. Back in the race, though, for him. So Dola will be coming back in. And another attack out in the race. Again, it's team number 6 in the red colours. There he is, just pops in. So we've seen them take a lap already, but Will Holmes once again going on the attack at 63 laps to go. This is going to get really interesting now. So the teams that have been duking it out in these sprints are looking at each other. And this is where it gets dangerous. It gets really dangerous. Strong riders like Lay and Holmes going on the attack, trying to pick up another 20 points. Surprisingly, it's the New Zealand team in the black colours, Team 15, that's doing the chasing. And the next of the New Zealand team. So the 2 New Zealand teams coming to do the chase. Out in front, Connor Lay trying to hold on for the 5 points. But Douglas and O'Donnell, team number 14 coming for it. Over the top, though, Kel O'Brien. This is for the 3 points. As we see the red colours come through to pick up the sprint win. Then it's Kel O'Brien in second position for 3 points. That's going to help their tally for the gold medal. But 5 points there for Connor Lay and Will Holmes. Another good attack from the young rider, Will Holmes. from South Australia. There he is, the red helmet. So really solid move for him to get the 5 points. Again, you see the crash of the two Western Australian coloured white riders going down. Well, look at that. Super tight race for second, third and fourth. At the moment, the gold medal looking somewhat secure, but still 57.5 laps to go. Plenty of racing to come. The dark blue colours, Blake Agnoletto and Kell O'Brien looking nice and solid. Super tight race, though, for second, third and fourth at this stage. O'Brien now comes in once more off the change of Blake Agnoletto. And keeping the pace on as the Queensland team have gone on the attack off the front again. Spectators working hard to try and keep up with this one. There's been so many attacks. It's O'Brien really got the peloton strung out here as he just now comes up to the Queenslanders who swung up the track. So O'Brien now shutting down that dangerous move from Tyler Tompkinson. So the teams that have already gained a lap on the field almost 1-2ing the peloton to try and do it again. First we saw Team 6, picked up the 5 points. Then we just saw Team 5, the Queenslanders, try and do the same thing, but no points for them that time. Just saw legs, but it did put the pressure on the rest of the peloton. Shutting down what was looking like an attack there from Team 15 from New Zealand in the black colours. .53 laps to go. Once again, reminder, double points on the final sprint. 10-6, 4 and 2. Agnoletto now awkwardly fighting the pedals to get over the top, get himself ready for this next sprint. They will get the bell this time. And Kell O'Brien comes in off the change. Just over 1 lap to go. John Carter in second position. They really have gapped the rest of the peloton too. O'Brien down the back straight, looking for the 5 points. Will Carter come up around the outside? He's happy to stay there in second position. Dragged into 3 points. And Frizzley popping over the top of Tompkinson to pick up the 2 points on offer for third in that particular sprint. So another 5 points going the way of team number 1, O'Brien and Agnoletto. Starting to create a comfortable buffer now between them and the rest. Good job there. Blake comes back in after setting O'Brien up so well. It really does hurt to go that early in the sprints, but if you can open up a gap as Agnoletto did, it just means that anyone else that's trying to chase, they're not sitting comfortably on the wheel. They have to fight hard to try and bridge the gap. So perfectly executed sprint performance there from Agnoletto and O'Brien. .46 laps to go when they come around this time. Glenn O'Shea, former medalist in the Madison at the World Championships himself, alongside Tim Decker, the national coach of the track endurance program. And 52 points now, handy buffer down to team number 3 on 36, team 5 on 34, and then only 32 points for the next. So still really tight between second, third and fourth. At some point, you may think those teams will forget a little bit about team number 1 and start racing for that silver medal. Do they think that there's no chance of gold anymore? Has O'Brien and Agnoletto put the final nail in the coffin? 44 laps to go when they come around this time. Still plenty of points on offer. Laps to be gained as well. It's not over just yet, but it's looking very good for O'Brien and Agnoletto. Short turn of pace from Liam Walsh off the change of Frizzley. O'Brien up and out of the way as well. Then it's Connolly in the red colours. .42 to go. Team 14, first of the New Zealand teams, in a good position on 27 points as well, not too far away. And the next sprint about to happen. 41 laps to go. And this time it's Walsh and Agnoletto. Walsh makes the change to Frizzley. Agnoletto up around the outside, but Frizzley off the change. He's got some acceleration, as does Blake Agnoletto. But here comes Frizzley up onto the wheel. And it's not enough. Good sprint there, Agnoletto. Getting the timing perfectly. During the change, up around the outside, and Frizzley's very rapid indeed, so a great sprint there from Blake to hold on. A little acceleration from Moriarty from Queensland. If I had the time, I'd pop across to that coffee van in the back straight. Too much racing to happen. 38 laps to go. The attack of the Queenslanders has been neutralised. It's Connor Lay in the red colours of Sassy. Team number 6 leads the way. Will Holmes comes in. It's always difficult to try and attack from first position. Everyone right there behind in the slipstream. So Will Holmes swings up and out of the way. I'm sure we'll see another attack from the youngster before this race is out. In the red colours, the red helmet. Frizzley comes in. Not showing any ill effect of that crash earlier on, so that's really good to see. It's very surprising and comforting that all of the riders that I've seen crash tonight have been able to bounce back up and continue racing, so that's great. Beers all round. Everyone enjoying the proceedings here at the Darebin International Sports Complex. Final race of the night, the Australian Championship for the men's Madison. Saw a dominant performance in the women's race from Baker and Manley. Not a completely dominant race here from O'Brien and Agnoletto, but it's starting to look a little bit more dominant perhaps with 33 laps to go. And we've probably just enjoyed one of the more peaceful moments in this race as O'Brien pops up around the outside looking for good position as they approach this next sprint. Agnoletto will see his teammate now on the front, 32 laps to go, and he'll be accelerating or decelerating just to make sure he comes in at the right moment to pounce for this next intermediate sprint. And he pops down now, and there's the change. 31 laps to go. And Agnoletto fights through underneath. The change of Frizzley off the back of Walsh goes down the back straight as well. And this is deja vu from the last sprint. Agnoletto comes through to pick it up. 5 more points with Graham Frizzley picking up second. And Will Holmes, I did say he'd go on the attack again, and there it is, but it was short-lived. Shut down there by Agnoletto. That is the job. I mentioned it before. You go for the sprints. It is your job then of the team to then shut down any moves that come directly after those sprints. So good riding there from Blake. Team 1, Team 3, Team 6 and Team 13. Haven't seen too much of Team 13. It's the third of the New Zealand teams. Magnus Jamison and Kane Foster. So good to see Team 13 getting up into the points so late in the race. Still anyone's race for the silver and bronze medal. Team 14 from New Zealand on the attack. This one's being shut down though by Kell O'Brien. They've registered the danger in some of these New Zealand teams. They are very strong. And O'Brien really quick to shut that one down. Agnoletto will need to finish the job off as he comes off the change. This is the second of the New Zealand teams. A little bit further down, just trying to keep themselves in contention. But it is their compatriots out in front. Team number 14 from New Zealand that are still on the attack here. So Agnoletto has not shut this one down just yet. Bouncing out of the saddle again. Douglas from New Zealand as they come around to get 24 laps to go. And Joel Douglas from the county's Manukau Cycling Club in New Zealand. Not much of a gap, but it's certainly putting the rest of the teams under pressure as Bailey O'Donnell now comes in. 23 laps to go, and they are fighting the New Zealanders to try and wrestle off the front of this peloton. Kel O'Brien's back in. I'm sure Kel thought it was about to get shut down. Now he's back in the race and still having to try to close this gap to Team 14 from New Zealand. 22 laps to go, another sprint coming up. At the moment, Team 14 might be riding away with the 5 points for this one. If they leave them out there, though, there's still time to pick up a lap on this field. 21 laps to go now. O'Brien leads the rest of the peloton. It's Team 14 from New Zealand with a gap over this group. And down the back straight, it's a late change with Agnoletto coming in at the end of the back straight here. So advantage to team number 3 as Walsh and Frisley come through to pick up some points. 3 points for them in second position. Agnoletto, 2 points in third position, but it was the New Zealand team 14 that picked up the 5. 14, 3, 1 and team 4. So John Carter and Kurt Ether picking up the 1 point. So 3 teams now off the front. This is the chase. Trying to come across to the 3 teams just out in front of them. And there's the rest of the peloton. So there are our leaders now. 4 teams out in front. The green colours, that's the team number 13, which we hadn't seen much of. It's the third of the New Zealand teams. But they have been able to pick up some points late and also jumping across the gap like that. So team 13, Jamieson and Foster, just showing that they're getting some legs towards the end of this race. A little bit too late to get themselves in the mix for any of the medals. Only have 1 point to their name. But at least they're in the mix towards the end of this race. 16 laps to go now. Unbeatable lead now for team number 1. So O'Brien and Agnoletto have done enough to claim the gold medal, but there is still a good race here for second and third. Liam Walsh doing the change there to Graham Frisley. 10-point advantage over team 5, but only 1 point between 5 and 6. So we're going to have to look very closely at the Queenslanders Moriarty and Tompkinson, and Connor Lay and Will Holmes in the red colours. So the maroon colours second from the back and the red colours at the front. Only 1 point between them in the race for the bronze medal. If they keep sprinting to form, gold and silver may have already been done. Bronze definitely still in the cards. Can team 14 from New Zealand still do something? No. Big move over the top from Ether though. 13 laps to go. Huge move for team number 4. Kurt Ether and John Carter. They're on 13 points. Probably out of the question in these final laps now to see them get themselves up into the medal, but they might pick up the 5 points here as John Carter comes through. And there should be enough of a gap here for them to get the 5 points. This is the race for second place. And it's Graham Frisley that's closing the gap down. He'll finish second, get the 3 points. It's Walsh it is, sorry, Liam Walsh. Look pretty similar on the bike, actually, Liam and Graham. But John Carter picks up the 5 points. And with that second place for Liam Walsh, that should be enough now to consolidate silver position. One more sprint to come, double points, 10, 6, 4 and 2. So team 3 on to 48 points. Still only 1 point though between 6 and 5. Team 14 still in the mix as well. Very close indeed. The bronze medal absolutely up for grabs in this final sprint. And again, Team 13, where were they in the first half of the race? They have absolutely re-emerged towards the end here. Third of the New Zealand teams, Jamieson and Foster. This is Foster that comes through off the front. 7 laps to go now. Still a scramble in the peloton. Final 6 laps now. Team 13 just about to be caught. The green colours being reabsorbed into the peloton. And there is a race for the bronze medal. Gold medal, that's done. Still with only 10 points on offer in this double points final sprint. Team 1, Agnoletto and O'Brien have done enough to win the gold medal here tonight in the Australian Madison Championships. Same for Team 3, silver medal. That has been confirmed before the final sprint as well for Frisley and Walsh. But let's look for Team 6, Team 5, Team 14. They're in the mix as well. They've just gone on the attack inside the final kilometre. And Team 14 from New Zealand, they want the points. They want to get up into the bronze medal position. And looking behind, it's the Queensland colours. Also the Sassy colours on red. They are the three teams fighting for the bronze medal here. 10 points on offer for the winner of this final sprint. Moriarty now goes up over the top. And we get 2 laps to go. Moriarty leads the way. Absolute final dash for the line here. Ken Moriarty's looking for Tompkinson. It's a long way to get round to his teammate Tompkinson. These guys are out of it. They're way out the back in the black colours. It's up here that we need to focus on. This is the Queensland colours. 1 lap to go. Looking for the hand change. Tompkinson's about to come in. This is the race for the bronze medal. It's these three teams. Whoever can get to the line first will get the bronze medal. Up round the outside. Conor Lay comes through to pick the 10 points. That's the bronze medal to Conor Lay and Will Holmes, after an incredible battle from Tompkinson and Moriarty from Queensland to try and get that bronze. Conor Lay came from the clouds in the last metres to get that final spot on the podium. What a final sprint we saw. Great race for bronze in the end. The three teams that needed the points were right there in those closing laps. Brilliant sprinting from all three. Conor Lay getting the job done, picking up the 10 points ahead of Tyler Tompkinson on 6. That secured the bronze medal for Lay and Holmes. But there's the gold medalist, the national champions. Kell O'Brien back-to-back after winning last year with Graham Frisley. This time it's alongside Blake Agnoletto, and it's Blake's first Australian Madison Championship. He was second last year. So this time partnering up with the defending champ and getting the job done. Really strong ride from them. Graham Frisley and Liam Walsh, commendable performance from them as well to finish in second, especially after missing out on a couple of sprints early on after that unfortunate crash of Graham Frisley. Agnoletto and O'Brien, the Australian Madison champions. Top two teams not needing to contest the final sprint. They let the teams that were racing for bronze have their way of it, so very fair from both those teams to not get in the way. And here it is, the final change, the final sprint. Whoever got to the line first between these three teams was going to come away with the bronze medal. And Conor Lay, the National Individual Pursuit Champion, bronze medalist in the time trial last year at the National Championships on the road as well, a strongman from Western Australia, getting the bronze. Fantastic racing. Sandy and Robin, Agnoletto parents, mum and dad, heading off to Europe next year. I was just talking to Sandy earlier on tonight. Off to Italy and Spain, doing a big European trip as we get into next summer. I know Blake needed that one, really wanted a good performance here. He wants to ride the Nations Cup Madison events, especially with Kell O'Brien. That's still to be determined by Glenn O'Shea and Tim Decker, the national coaches. But you cannot go wrong by putting in a dominant performance here in the National Championship. So well done to Blake and to Kell O'Brien. Kell's been here before, but you can see how emotional Blake Agnoletto is. It really does mean a lot to win the national title. The boy from Bendigo gets a gold here in Melbourne. Bendigo Cycling Club Instagram page will be showered with Insta stories, with Darren Casey taking the photos there of the boys. Another national champion for Bendigo. Club's doing very well. Effectively known as Turtle. Quick interview from Darren, and a moment to reflect for Blake and Kell. Great ride. Hats off to Liam Walsh and Graham Frisley. Graham, speedy recovery. I hope you didn't take too much skin off tonight in that crash. Bounced up pretty quickly. and really strong and gutsy to get through to the end and still finish in silver. Solid fight to try and close the gap down after missing those 2 sprints while they were out of the race. But solid. Only 2 points back to Team 6 in the end, so it was tight. Here's an early crash. New Zealand rider going underneath. So really not wanting to be in that position. Not too badly affected by it. That was the Graham Frisley crash. I think it was off the change. Now that I heard another look at it, it did look as if it was off the change, perhaps, that he might have lost the back wheel in the change and then that high-sided him over the top. You can see Liam Walsh just out of shot there, so I think that's what's happened. If you come in too slow to a change, often you end up losing your back wheel when you try and accelerate quickly, and then that can end up being a high side up over the handlebars, and that's what it appears to have happened there to Graham. Nonetheless, he bounced back, did well. And a lap gained by this team. This is what set themselves up to get that bronze medal in the end, keep them in contention, gaining some points for picking up sprints while they were out there, getting the 20 points for taking a lap, and the boys in red able to finish it off with that final sprint win to get the bronze medal and onto the podium. Dollar it was that went down, Western Australian youngster. So we saw a few crashes here tonight. It's always unfortunate. It's not unusual, though, in a Madison with the hectic nature and all the changes that happen. The deeper you get into the race, the more concentration needed, and that's so difficult when the riders are absolutely exhausted. Often that's when the crashes happen. We did see some happen early on tonight, which was interesting. Just the hectic nature of the event. 67 points to 48, and only 2 points back to the boys in red, team number 6 on 46. But a great battle between 6, 5 and 14 in that final sprint. Couldn't have scripted it better.
Rise up and fight for your freedom.
This is the beginning of the end.
The final season of The Handmaid's Tale, stream free on SBS On Demand.
We're watching a gang.
That's why we need a lip reader.
So you were always watching?
Well, you got something to hide.
Code of Silence, stream free on SBS On Demand.
I won't lie to you, Liam. I'm having trouble finding something as fulfilling as hockey.
What's your job this summer? Shorzy, life after hockey is tough.
Shorzy, stream free on SBS On Demand.
Those stunt drivers, you know, they really risk their lives doing this stuff.
I actually turned down the audition.
Like an idiot.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Totally irresponsible.
I didn't hear about it until now.
You know, Paul's a hell of a driver. God bless you, Paul.
I got the call 15 minutes after it happened.
Icons Unearthed, Fast and Furious, stream free on SBS On Demand.
On the left. And Kane Paris with Luke Zachariah on the right. So Luke with the dark hair, he is the pilot. Caitlin Ward on the left, far left, the pilot for Jess Gallagher. Lovely medals on offer, and of course the national champions green and gold striped jerseys. So Kane Paris getting his national champions jersey. Luke Zachariah will be the next. Jess Gallagher proudly displaying her. She has a few of those now. All of these riders really looking forward to the next 10 months or so as we head towards the Paralympic Games in Paris. A couple of weeks after the Olympic Games. I'm looking forward to commentating both events actually for Channel 9 here in Australia. The rights holders for the Olympic Games 2024. Photo time, up on the podium. Para-tandem team sprint final. And a big year ahead for these 4 riders. How are you, mate? I just muted.
Did you see me jumping in front of you taking some photos? You were just... No.
High performance program as a pure sprinter, and then made the transition to be a pilot there for Kane Perez. So great to have Luke, such a fast sprinter on his own right, be able to be the pilot for a blind or visually impaired athlete. Likewise for Caitlin Ward, who is also fighting to be in the Para Games as an individual next year as well. So it's quite a unique situation for Caitlin Ward. She does have nerve damage on her right leg, which has taken her out of the national sprint program, but straight into the para program as a pilot. So she's been such a good pilot for Jess Gallagher, but a real opportunity now for her to also ride in the Para Games. And I don't know if there's been any other actual para or a C5, which is the para category athlete, that has been a pilot. So the UCI have really been scrambling just to come through with some stats or to recognise Caitlin to be an individual para athlete for next year possibly. Women's Madison, and the bronze medal to Sally Carter and Sophie Edwards. And Sally on the right. You can see the national team uniform, and Sally with the Western Australian Institute of Sport skin suit underneath, rider from Perth. And the silver medal, little bit of confusion in this one for the riders that did pick up second. Sophie Maher and Kira Will. At one point, the judges thought they may have lost the lap when they were actually, in fact, off the front trying to gain a lap. So they got rectified and made sure that they did hold on to pick up the silver medal. So great performance from Sophie Maher and Kira Will. Young riders still coming through and aggressive throughout that race. So that was a very solid performance from them, but putting on the national champions jerseys, and what an incredible performance it was. Georgia Baker and Alex Manley. Absolutely dominant performance. 97 points in the end, only 3 points shy of cracking the tongue, getting 100, and they almost did that by gaining a lap in the last couple of laps. The final attack. Just kept the pressure on after all of the intermediate sprints. They took turns in destroying the field, Alex Manley and Georgia Baker. National champions to finish off a great year for these two riders. Silver medalists in the World Madison Championships. It would have given them so much confidence going into next year. Some Nations Cups races to come, and then, of course, the Olympic Games in Paris. So both in the team pursuit team, such solid members of that squad. But can they put in a great performance in the Madison as well? They must be confident knowing that they have medalled at this year's World Championships. If they can get it right, step up a little bit more, have a little bit of luck, they can be on the podium in Paris as well. One more presentation to come, and that's the men's Madison. What a race that was. 200 laps. I do wonder, with the 120 laps for the elite women, 200 for the men, I wonder when they might step the laps up a little bit more for the women. I'd like to see that. I think they can handle it. They'd enjoy it as well. Men's Madison presentation now. And in the red colours from the South Australian Sports Institute, one South Australian in Will Holmes and one Western Australian in Connor Lay. Bronze medal for them. They left just enough for that final sprint to put themselves on the podium. Commendable performance, though, for silver. Liam Walsh from Queensland, alongside Graham Frisley from Victoria. Graham doesn't look too badly hurt after that crash, so that's good. Australian Omnium champion from yesterday, Graham Frisley. Silver medal here in the Madison. But a great ride it was indeed. Kel O'Brien, last year's winner, this time with a new partner, with Blake Agnoletto picking up his first national championship Madison jersey. Kel from Melbourne, Blake from Bendigo, and a great combination. They did have the benefit of Frisley and Walsh missing out on 2 sprints. But once all the dust had settled, O'Brien and Agnoletto really did start to take control of the race. As we got deeper into it, they really did stand out and get themselves up on top of that podium. Australian Madison champions, Kel O'Brien and Blake Agnoletto. Great rides from Graham Frisley and Liam Walsh in second, with youngster Will Holmes alongside the strongman Connor Lay for the bronze. Right, what a fantastic night of racing with the Austral men's and women's finals, all the Kieran racing we saw as well. Tom Cornish picking up the win in the men. And Christina Clonan, the outright favourite going in, really dominated the women's Kieran also. The under 19 Kierans were also hard to fought races, the next generation coming through. And we didn't see on tonight's program, but there's been some great paracycling this week also, except for just the tandem race we saw tonight. But there's been so much more throughout the last couple of days for our paras. We also had the National Junior Track Series over the last couple of days as well. So the under 15s and the under 17s were here on show in Melbourne over the last couple of days. So the next generation were also making their way through. So many great races. This was the Austral final for the women, with Georgia Baker riding off scratch. Brilliant performance from her to hold off Sophie Edwards to get the win. And the men, a bit more of a scramble for the men. We saw Gallagher there in second position, pop up around the outside and then eventually closed down by Graham Frisley. So silver medal in the Madison, gold medal in the Omnium last night, but Frisley did win the Austral, the 126th edition, the Quest Ivanhoe Austral for this year as well. Great racing in the women's Madison, dominated of course by team number 1, Baker and Manley. I'm sure you can join me in wishing them all the very best in the next series of months training leading up towards the Paris Olympic Games. Of course, there are so many races that they have to do. They've got the Tour Down Under coming up in January, the National Championships, both road and track also. Then there's a Nations Cup in Adelaide in early February before they get into their road racing throughout the season. But Paris is what they are absolutely focusing on for next year. And they really did show us tonight why they are one of the favourites to pick up a medal in the Madison. Lap after lap, sprint after sprint, they were winning the 5 points, then they were gaining the laps for the 20 points as well. The men's Madison, some crashes, unfortunate. New Zealand over New Zealand there, the 2 different teams. 3 very strong New Zealand teams in the race tonight. Several crashes, which was always unfortunate. It's hard to train for Madisons without doing them, and that's the challenge. You don't have the experience, then you make these little mistakes that do cause crashes. but they learn from them. And all these riders that race tonight, there's Liam Walsh almost clipping a wheel and crashing, holding onto it though. Frizzley picking up sprints throughout the race. There it is. Ooh, so close. Well done, Liam, to hold on to that one. And a lap gain that resulted in a bronze medal for the boys in red. Young Dola from Western Australia, unfortunately touching down as well. And that is all. It's fantastic for both men and the women, the para-athletes, also the juniors, the under-19s that we saw racing, the sprinters. It's been a fantastic program, not just tonight, but over the last couple of days, and culminating in 2 brilliant Madison races. The endurance riders came out to show, and it came down to that final sprint that we just saw for the bronze medal, the final spot on the podium in the men's race. But the champions were crowned. O'Brien and Agnoletto in the men, alongside Baker and Manley in the women. 2 brilliant performances and a new young national champion here in Blake Agnoletto. He'll celebrate this for weeks. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we look forward to our next big championship, which is in January, the National Road Championships in Ballarat for the 21st time. We hope you can join us there.